Welcome to the Saturday Night Safe Call. It is our intention for you to leave here with a much better attitude. Okay, tonight we have, once again, Amy Holem, who is a forensic, this is a term I've come up with, forensic audiologist, or she calls herself a digital forensic specialist. But she can take your V2K, analyze it, and no matter how muddy it sounds, or the fact that the V2K is not audible, she can pull it out. She should be here momentarily, and she is. So we're going to switch right over to Q&A mode once again. And Amy, you are unmuted.
Hi, Frank. How are you doing?
Oh, very good. Great to have you back again.
Glad to be here. I was actually doing research on the foot for everybody.
Okay, great.
So I don't know if any of those people are here.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. We've just hit 20 people at 9:02. And as the crowd grows, I'm sure that you'll find some of those people are in attendance.
Okay, great. I just see guest up on there. I don't see any names, so I didn't recognize if anybody was.
Okay, Deb's here. Betty's here. Dr. Oh, wait a minute. Galizamoniova. Okay, I can never get that one right. I'm sorry. Donna, Tamisha, Trent, another Amy, Ann.
Amy's Rose.
And Anonymous, and Edith, Gertrude, Joe from Australia, and Lily, who works with Targeted Massachusetts, and New Jersey, and Ra Thakur, I think I got that right, Walter, Life Stolen, and Name. So we are at 25 since I started calling the roll. So we're doing quite well.
All right.
Yeah, people are starting to come in. You don't have any questions yet. If you want to give a little background on what you do to a few new people, a few new faces I see here, that might be great.
Okay. Currently what I do, I haven't finished my school yet, but I finished in a couple of weeks for digital forensic investigations. And what I do is I came up with a technique that could actually discover the telecommunications of your perpetrators that are embedded into the audios, the videos, and the phone conversations and your hacking or your computer devices that they are hacking into. And what I do is bring their subliminal communications up to an audible level and in a forensic nature, and could analyze and hear the type of the equipment, different types of names. I get agencies, departments, bank account information, servers, where they're connecting to, all sorts of different types of information that can be proven for your targeting. I find different types of software and equipment, different VoIP services, customer service programs, their remote operating units. So I capture a lot of communications and can prove the things that you guys are experiencing. So if you're one of those victims that say there's aliens talking to us, well, that's just a voice box. Somebody is changing their voice using a voice changer to make it sound like an alien. It's not really an alien. But we could prove those special effects that they're using to create that atmosphere to make you feel that way too. if they're controlling your body movements, or if they're hitting specific locations in your bodies with these weapon systems. We could gain information on different types of ways that they're connecting via drone, satellite, radio towers. Are the three main ones that I've been capturing. I've analyzed over 300 victims' audios and videos and phone conversations so far, and those are the three main components that they're using. A lot of times you find different hacking techniques, like AC coupling, or they'll be tapped into your copper piping within the home, depending on the year and the age of your home. So each different one that I analyze is different in comparison to you. We've proven perpetrators, stalkers in stores, got license plate information. So we could run the vehicles and the license plate of the perpetrators and tie them to the group and the association too. So I do this on a forensic analysis portion of it, and that's what I do for everybody. I analyze all of your audios and videos and phone conversations and prove the harassment and torture that you're going through. Hank, are you there? Did I lose you? Did I hear you? Can you guys hear me? Am I muted? Something happened?
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're coming in 5 by 5.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear anybody. I was freaking out. I'm like, what happened?
That always worries you, doesn't it?
Yeah, you never know what's going on. If your cable is cut, if it's loose, if you're like your perpetrators cut you off. They don't want people to know what you're doing, so they end the phone conversation out.
Yeah, my screen can go totally dead. It looks fine. You can see somebody talking, but if you notice, the bubbles don't move. They just stay in one spot. Then you know you're in trouble. And yours don't move. So, let's see. All right, we're at 32. Hi, Kevin, Deb, Betty. Okay. Lana. New. Faith. That's a new one. Michael from Anchorage, Alaska. Green for rent. All right. Cool. We can all use some of that. Let me see what else we have new here. Probably some new anonymouses. Edith Ann is here. Edith is here. Gertrude. I don't see anybody. Lily from Target, Massachusetts is here. Tracy from Detroit's here. Walter. Life Stolen. Okay, so we have a few new ones then. We're at 37, 38 people.
All right.
And that will steadily go up as the night goes on.
Okay.
Okay, we are. Hi, Beverly. I just noticed you too. In Lewiston, Maine, just came in. If anybody has a question, you can ask now. Okay, Tracy from Detroit has a question. Tracy, you're unmuted.
Amy, are you there?
Yes.
I was wondering if you have any knowledge regarding vehicle infotainment systems as far as how they are hacked and how you can prevent that type of hacking, and if it's already happened, what can you do about it?
Well, unfortunately, there's certain things that we can do with your vehicle and certain things that we cannot do. First out, depending on the year, the make and model of your vehicle, depends on how many chips and sensors are already into it. Currently, within the year 2018 all the way to current, there's on average, a total of 14 different chips and sensors built into the vehicles. You have the remote start, you have the automatic start, you have the push key buttons, you have sensors in your tires, sensors in your starter, your alternator, the transmission, and that is sending data and information back and forth to the company, and not only the company, but the dealership that you have with the vehicle as well. So, and most of that can be done remotely, and the way they did that is because a lot of people lacked off on their payments, and there's an automatic cutoff switch that is in your contract that if you stop making payments, they could shut down the vehicle and they could track it with the GPS, and then they could repo the car. So if your vehicle is under warranty, you have to actually check your contract. There's a little box on your contract that states the electrical component or the chip. If that box is marked, you cannot take the chip out. But it is underneath your dash, underneath the driver's side in the mechanism to the car and the vehicle. If that little box is not marked, you are free and able to take it out without legal consequences. So one, if your vehicle is under warranty, you want to check that out just to make sure that you stay within those warranty standards and the legality issues if that little box is checked. If it's not checked, you're free to do to whatever you want in your vehicle, and that chip and sensor that cuts off your vehicle, could turn it on, could turn it off and cause problems for you, is all underneath the dash in the steering wheel, and all you do is have to bypass in the system. It's kind of like hot wiring it. I could find the directions for you, but per make and model, you would probably have to do the research on yourself. If you look up your manual guide, they'll give you the information on at least where the location of all the chips are and the functions, and then you could look up YouTube videos or something on how to remove it. It's easy to bypass, though.
So how are the hackers? I mean, how are the stalkers, or how are these people, that aren't really authorized? How are they hacking into our vehicles? How are they able to do it?
Because it's a sensor, that means it has RFID chip capabilities to it, which is remote or radio frequencies, right? So they produce a tone. And this is where I was talking about this last night, tone generators, all right? What they do is play a specific tone that actually could connect to the RFID chip and the sensor inside your vehicle. And what that does is when that tone is accepted by it, it opens up the control panel or the command prompt, as you might say, and performs a root connection to that specific chip and that sensor. So what they're able to do then is they're able to write scripts like remote listening, remote viewing inside those vehicles. They could force your vehicles to shut down. They could tell your car to perform specific actions and functions that could cause your vehicle to control like that. So most of them, because if anything has to deal with a microchip, whether it's a Bluetooth speaker, whether it's a handheld device, those are all going to be radio frequencies, which is your tone generators, too.
So once your car is hacked into that in that manner, are they nearby controlling your vehicle system,
No.
or are they far away? Or
they could be in remote locations. If they're doing it through a site or a specific group, they could use their computer system from anywhere, as long as they're connecting to a tower that is able to access. If they're connecting to the radio towers, right, they use frequency hopping and bounding. So I'll probably use that term a lot today. And they bound from tower to tower to tower as you are traveling down the road. Now, towers, radio towers and signals, this works the same way as your radio inside your vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then they attach themselves into those radio frequencies, which is why a lot of people say they're coming through the radio. I could hear them speaking through the radio systems. It's using the FM channels to link to the car. And they use signal channeling equipment to attach to the sensor. So they're able to access multiple components using that with the radio towers. But they need an FM bandwidth to do it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I had myself muted. I'm sorry. We don't have any more questions at the moment, but we can review some of the things that you said that you could do and what they entail, such as being able to identify where these are coming from. And you mentioned finding which satellites they possibly are. And I thought that was very interesting. I could be misleading, but I believe that is what you said.
Right. No, that is absolutely true. When dealing with satellite connections, you actually have to look at it like a GPS or like your internet connection too. They still have to link up to the company and corporation via satellite in order to pinpoint certain locations if they're using that satellite. One of the satellite companies that I did capture from the British Royal Army from London, and the other one was Northcom out in California. So they use those satellite systems to connect to the agencies, and this is usually where the laser weapon systems come from. Those are in charge of the weapon systems when you have lasers attached to you. So it pretty much connects like a Bluetooth connection. So they're able to access through the Bluetooth. The group is actually controlling the connection straight to you, and the satellite is able to use their GPS signal of their connection and then hit you with a precision. They use speed markers for that. One of the types of equipment that they were using was called a speed marker. That's a GPS locator for a person too. Another one was an audio tracker that was used through a beam. So that was a satellite connection too. So those are the types of information and connections that I could capture during the analysis process. Did I answer your question? No, Joe, I don't. I'm doing a degree in digital forensic investigation. Were you looking up the satellites there?
It's right on our website. You can actually look up and see the satellites that are overhead. I was muted that whole time, and I was also talking that whole time. So this thing has a mind of its own. It's muting on its own. So we'll have to figure that out. But at 9:20, we have 51 people and rising, 52 people. So let me see how we're doing here. Okay, Beverly would like to ask you a question. Go ahead, Beverly.
Yes, I didn't realize it at the time because I have a 15-year-old car and everybody else has new ones, and they have these long antennas in the back, and I never had an antenna. But when I washed the car one day is when I look at the roof, I had this black, long, probably 15-inch, and it had that black tape wrapping. It was quite wide. I sawed it off, and then they put another one on about the same size, only real thin. I sawed that off. Can someone tell me a little bit about what they were doing? I mean, they still obviously can hear me when I'm traveling because I mention everybody's license plate that are around me, and they speed by real quick. They don't like that, I guess. But I just wondered, what all would that antenna do? I mean, I never had one all those years, but they could still hear me even though I don't have it now, or is there some device inside that I'm not aware? I'm just not inclined that way. I just been wanting to ask here for many, many months about that situation. I have a good saw if anyone needs one.
That's funny. Now, for the antenna system, usually that would have to be for a direct connection because they have different types of antenna systems that they could use and they could actually use them directionally. Most of the antennas that they use are a directional antenna system, something that they can move around and pinpoint your location. So it sticks on one target instead of a parabolic reflector antenna system that actually will widen the signal out. So
many years ago, I had something was put under my car and right in the center, and it would be dragging underneath after I had it maintenance. So I came back to the company, and they fixed it. Was that another sort of that idea of tracking? Would that have been part of that also? But this was probably a good 10 years ago.
It could have been because the technology wasn't advanced back then, especially with the direct neural links. So, yeah, it possibly could be that way. Because when the technology advances, they don't need that specific type of equipment for. So obviously they needed that antenna system and probably kept seeing that you recognized it, and so they just stopped putting it up and found probably a different avenue to use against.
Yeah, because everybody now around me has an antenna usually in the back of their car. You know, it's anywhere from probably 6 to 15 inches tall. And now, some of them have different widths. And I was wondering, where does that connect to?
It's a radio tower.
Anything?
It could be, if it was vehicle-based, it would be to your radio.
Oh, to my radio?
Yeah.
Would I hear a change in connection with my radio when they're fooling with it, or doesn't that come into
what we talking about back then or currently, because you no longer have the antenna?
Yeah, I have no idea that it's up there, and it has to be. I just have some black tape on it loosely. I didn't have it as snug as they had it, which probably prevented any water in it. I try not to go out on, and I don't wash the top of my car anymore because I don't want to get water into the systems. I don't know why I don't want to close it down with water, but I don't know how much damage I would do to the vehicle in itself if I washed it and got water into that system. I have it taped up a bit, but the heat alters that, and we're into 90 degrees now.
I'm kind of confused because if the antenna is on the outside of the vehicle, it's meant to go through rain damage. So what type of system do you have installed into your car?
I have no idea. It's a 15-year-old car, a little Scion, and it's really a good little car, but I don't know where anything comes and goes. I know nursing, but I don't know anything about electronics. I'm sorry, I just really don't have, I just noticed this darn thing up there, and after 2 or 3 days, nothing happened in the car that I recognized something irregular. I didn't. That had that thing on top, and I know that wasn't there because I used to be able to. I can barely reach the top of the car, but I usually throw a bucket of water on it and call it clean. But it was thick, wide, and then it was real tall. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to get my saw out. I just bought it. Let's use it, and got rid of it. Came back about 2 weeks later. I realized, oh my God, they put another one on, and it was a skinny one, like the metal. It used to be metal ones, wasn't it, by the driver's side?
Yeah, that's for radio connections with that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And this is all on top of the car. So I sawed that off and taped over so nothing leaked into it to cause any electronic issues.
Did you take pictures of it?
I couldn't be. I had no one around to talk to. My brothers would be, my source, or my male cousins, and of course we're spread all over now the country. So, and of course, I'm not very popular here where I live in the park because I ask too many questions and no one's allowed to talk to me.
If anything, and this goes for all the other people too, if anything weird happens like that, you want to make sure that you're always taking pictures, especially if they are replacing it too. So you killed it by cutting it in half, and then they replaced the whole entire thing, which means that they also were probably doing it at nighttime when you weren't around. Now, even with that, there's always usually like a serial number or a make or model number on those devices too. So when you're taking pictures, you're capable of unscrewing it and removing it too. Whether it was glued on or if there were screws on there, take pictures of the underside, and you could always do like a reverse Google search for that picture and image to identify what that item is. And that will give you the specifications and what it is used for, too.
Well, it looks like a fin on a lot of cars, and it did look like a fin on my car where in the back it's a little where the door opens up, and there was like a little fin there, and that's where they put it on. So evidently they must have sawed off the face of the car, of that device to be able, and it's a little metal piece when I sawed off that I thought might have been part of that fin. Appearance of a fin on the back top of the car, right where you lift the back up. That's what was on it before. So I'm assuming That's what most of the people around here, I'm looking at cars here in the neighborhood. As I look out the window, they have them right at that point, too, where it's that little back. I describe it as a fin. Like a fish or something, it has a little up. So they had to saw that off or something in order to put this tall one on over a metal piece that probably was in that. Can you just understand when I describe that, what I mean? Because there is a little piece on the roof that goes up about probably 2 inches, and it's solid, and it does. It looks like a fin off of something swimming.
No, I'm sorry. I cannot picture or imagine it. Yeah, I would have to look at a picture or device to tell you exactly what it is.
I think any car you look at, it has that on the back, almost of all of them.
Right, but now you're going from the roof of the car back to the tail fin, back to the front of your vehicle. So I'm getting confused on what you're trying to describe, even where the location is of the antenna. So if it was connected to the fin near the bumper.
The antenna replaced the fin in the back of the car on top.
I think she's talking about a little spoiler that comes out.
You might have a term for it that I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it was connected to the spoiler then.
What do you call
underneath
it? What did you call it?
A spoiler, but it was on the roof of your car?
Yeah, it was on the roof of my car. And that's where it is on all these cars around here. They're all brand new. They don't have the metal thing that goes by the driver's window anymore. There's usually something up on top, and it's anywhere from 8 to probably 12 or 14 inches tall. It's very, very thin.
It sounds like a radio antenna still. So
That's
it would be
what
for
I
a better
was,
radio connection.
I don't know why they would suddenly put something on my roof of my car and back, and then twice,
They could have not, and if they did twice, they probably needed a specific connection, so that radio tower would have helped. Maybe they wanted to cause interference with your radio system at that time.
I can get I listen to Beth and Bill usually in the morning. I used to listen to them when I came home. And I have the same channel, and I don't have any disruption over the many years I've had the car.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, it just, it may not be related to that, and, of course, I probably am not making it very visual.
It could also be a GPS, something with GPS to track you. If it was 10 years old, GPS really only came out, if you think about it, GPS only came out, 6-8 years ago? Like cell phones came out back in 2000, early 2000s. So cell phones, I think I was 16 when cell phones came out. So that was about 15 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, everybody follows, and they evidently hear, because they'll look at me and laugh or smile even, you're caught. I wasn't lost, But
it could have been a GPS tracker, something to track you, because GPS wasn't built into the cell phones yet at that time. They didn't have touch screens. They were all flip phones, or they were hardwired into the cars. They could have been used for tapping back then. So technology has advanced since that, so they don't need those mechanisms anymore. If anything, you should also check the undercarriage of your car, because that's where a lot of them put little chips or trackers.
Well, that's what I was wondering about, that thing hanging down, that could have been involved in it, and it's just that someone was sloppy about it.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the new cars here have what I'm talking about. Now, whether they put it on or it was put on at the, factory or it could be put on by the people next door, which if mine was replaced twice, then we know, that they're capable. Because twice over the years, 3 times over the years, I have seen a guy next door putting in like cameras or something. I catch them at the end of it so that there's some kind of antenna on my neighbor's car that comes out of the back or the side back door, and that angles up like an antenna to my house. It's the direction of my house. And years ago, I even had the fire department out to look, and he says, all your utilities is under. I don't see anything that would disturb any of you. And I said, well, my neighbors are so elderly, I just didn't want them to harm. But they're the ones that put some big plugs in their side towards me. And when the son came home, he unplugged everything, and I could hear it. I mean, those were major plugs. And, I could hear all that stuff being undone because I had called the fire department. And I did it intentionally. I didn't know about that, Oh, heck, gee, I'm glad you told me about that. That kind of thing. I mean, after all, they treat you like you're dumb muzzle. Go along with it. I'm sorry I shouldn't be dominating it, but it's just that different things, they're unusual that I've never seen in my life before except in Arizona.
Okay, Bev, are you all set?
Oh, I am. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's quite all right.
Jade, I've been wanting to ask that for years because there's just been strange things that keep occurring, and I don't know anything about electronics.
Okay.
I'm glad you have that opportunity, Frank.
Oh, no problem. I'm sure that if you have any more questions, you can come around again. Okay, next we have Trent. You're unmuted.
Right. Maybe?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. I mean, this is the first time I've been on this. And I don't know, like, what kind of instruments do you use, like, I mean, is it mostly computer-based, like going through the Internet, or do you actually have ones that read signals, like, coming in, or, like, how do you do this, like, to analyze this stuff? Let's say, like, feet to K.
Okay. For the analysis process, like the subliminal acoustic fingerprinting portion of it that I do, and I analyze it, I use basic components, something that you could actually download for free. I actually bought my software, but I use the NCHS WavePad Master's Edition for it. I also use Audacity as well. I'm looking into better software programs for that, but some of the software programs that I want are about $2,000, so I'm kind of holding off on that. So but you guys could download it for free for the analysis process. Now the step processes I can't tell you because I am in a patent right now to broadcast their communications, so I can't give those out currently. But once I have the patent fully paid off and it's released to you guys, then I'll start teaching everybody on how to do this and do it properly too. That's something that I don't want to keep a secret. I actually was promoting it first when I learned, and I was teaching people before I learned too. So, but then the community, you know how they just, oh, you can't do that. You don't know how to do anything. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to show you. So that's what I did. So but basic equipment. Now, some of the software that I use police equipment. I have some software like enhancement software that allows me to play with different features and filters on there that brings out the audio more clearly. I use like the police omnivore to capture the pictures and images, media tag information, viewers, video viewers. I use Photoshop for the analysis process. I actually have a police dongle that allows me to draw out and improve the pictures and images or help clear up the pictures and images. Photoshop is not just used basically with the video forensic stuff. I take the video and I cut it down into like frames per second, right? So I take those frames and then I compile the images together. Now, it doesn't have to be a clean-cut picture, like pretty on the outside. We're not here to make it look pretty. We're here to get and distort an image to get the proper image. So that's where that training comes from. So we use Photoshop. We use that. I use, what else? I use QuickHash XE. That's for the encryptions. I encrypt the files to different formats for that. I could use like a basic acoustic basic edition, helps with reviewing the audio, slow down the pictures and images so I could get the proper spots that I want to cut the frame by seconds for. I use media info for some media tag information. G-Spot is another free tool that you guys could use. Let's see. I have Avid Media Composer too. That helps with the video processing portions of it. I can block out people's faces. I could track and trace people's movements. I could also break it down by the frame by seconds too. So those are some of the different tools that I currently have. I am looking into voice recognition software to add into my subliminal acoustics. Problem is with the special effects that they're using, like the voice box in the box, I'm not certain 100% that it's going to work. But it would help fasten or make me process it a lot faster if I could pinpoint each and every single voice out, you know. But with the special effects being used, I'm not sure that voice recognition software will be able to adapt and be used for my processing. So I'm actually working with a company right now. I think their software is about $5,000. So I'm working with them. I'm waiting on the NDA agreements, and I'll send my NDA agreement to them back and forth. That way we both could see, because then they could change their software and fix it to adapt to my forensic technique too. So we're trying to work on each other and see if it works first. That way before I purchase and buy it, and then I could help them advance their technology to pick up all these voice boxes and special effects with the subliminal acoustic fingerprinting portion too. So we're working back and forth with each other, but it's just taking time and processing. Software isn't very cheap. I also want to do spectrum analysis with it too, because that will show more of the frequencies on there. I do grab spectrums and I analyze the spectrums. I use different correlators and like frequency spectrograms too. But those are installed into like Audacity and WavePad. You could use those as well. Acoustic Basic Edition has a really good one too that shows all the beats and stuff. So I go back and forth sometimes depending on what I need for each analysis process, because every single one is different, whether it's an audio, video, phone conversation. Some people are just talking in their audio, so there's no reason me to do it. Some people have projections and lights in there, so I have to break that down and do different composures with that. Sometimes if you're driving or getting a license plate, that's where I take that and try to use the Photoshop to get the license plate information. So those are some of the software and equipment that I use currently.
Wow. Oh. So a lot to throw at me. So how would you start with an individual, if they thought that they were getting this? I mean, how do you begin? I suppose they'd have to tell you the side of their circumstances or whatever whatever.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Well,
you want to know where to begin?
Yeah, how do you start with an individual? Let's say they come in and they say, I think there's a possibility that I'm getting V2K. What do you do? I mean, where do you start? You know what I mean, right?
First off, when I talk to somebody, a victim, I usually talk with them for 1 to 2 hours on the phone before I even start any of the processing. I listen to their story, get their background, what their incidence is. I go over the evidence that they currently have in their possession, what they don't have in their possession, and we try to go from there because certain people are working on certain cases. For instance, a person could be working on getting her child back from DCFS that was taken from her, or a person could be thrown into court and on a schizophrenia charge, and they need the proof and evidence that they're not schizophrenic. So we're working on different avenues. So usually when I talk to the victim, I talk to you about your own personal case, what you are dealing with and what you are experiencing. Because I need to give you the basic information on even what type of evidence to collect. Some person was microchipped. They have the proof and evidence of the microchips in their body systems, so we needed to connect them to a company or corporation. So I've been trying to dig and dig and dig and find out what type of companies and corporations were behind that chip in their body system. So going after it kind of depends on what you want specifically. Some people are workman's comp. You know, they got fired from their job and they wanted to file a workman's comp, like for targeting and harassment. So working on that end. What type of evidence do you have with it? Do you have proof and evidence it was your company behind it? Do you have any audios of the employees? And then you have to look at the legalities. What does are you allowed to record in your company, or are there rules and regulations about video cameras and recording, or BYOB devices, which is BYOD, bring your own device?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because there's laws of that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different rules, regulations. Another one is through the EU, data mining with the EU. Basically, this is actually fun for everybody. Anybody who is out in the European area should probably look into collecting their data information with the GDPR. You're allowed to able to request all that information, and you would want to collect all the data from all the people and actually pick and choose what type of data they can and cannot collect, and choose it to opt out of it too. So they'll stop data mining you. So that's how I start. I usually send them, once we figure out what type of evidence they need and what they have on them, or create something new, I send them a survey and an NDA agreement. The survey references the audio file, the video, or the phone conversation. And basically, it's like your name, your information, what the video is about, what you want me to do with it, how you want me to process it. Is there any specific date, times, locations in there? If you're getting hit with weapon systems, what were you feeling at that time? Were you nauseous? Were you getting dizzy? Were you getting a headache? was there this electrical zapping feeling at that time that you recorded the video or audio. If you were, then the NDA goes towards to cover the patent for my step process to make sure that they're not released before I create the patent. So that's the only thing for the NDA agreement. You're free to do whatever you want with it. And I write that in there specifically. You're free to do whatever you want with the audios and videos. The pictures have to keep secret until it's used for legal representation. I won't hide that from you. You guys are able to collect the data that I have, too. I haven't decided on how I want to do that permission with law enforcement. I have to give them permission and access to my data, but I know there's a lot of criminal activity out there in the law enforcement departments that are involved with this. So giving them direct access is probably not the best idea. So I have to work on that preliminary statement and that release. So that's not in the report right now.
Okay. Yeah, quick question.
Sure.
I have this EMF tester, and it's for low frequencies, and it's kind of weird. But if I just hold it in the air, I don't really pick up anything. But if I take it and I rub it on certain parts of my body, and I have to kind of move it as I'm doing it, then she'll start picking up something. And I don't know if that's just like a static electricity effect or if it's actually an effect possibly being bombarded by some RF signal of some sort.
Well, EMF is electromagnetic frequencies. So frequencies is your RF signal. So they coincide together.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And what it's the interference in it. Because our body uses that interference even with the outlets. So if you were near your TV and then you start hearing a humming noise, there's interference within that. So you're causing that interference because your body is producing that electrical charge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Trent.
Yep.
Next, we have Tamisha. Go ahead, Tamisha. You are unmuted. Tamisha, 3556. You are unmuted. Okay, moving on to Anonymous. Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure. That's why I asked. Yeah, I was wondering, a lot of the problem, I've heard other TIs talk about it too, is when you try to work on this, I've been threatened. Do you get threatened? Do you get increased persecution? Can I ask, I didn't listen to the whole thing last night or tonight. Are you yourself a TI?
I am a victim. Yes, I am a TI. I've been the target since 2016. That's actually how I got into this all.
Okay. Have they threatened you? Have they increased the frequencies? Or because I've been threatened.
I've had the cops try to kill me twice, and I have 2 audios, videos, and witnesses to prove that too.
Okay. I was just wondering. Yeah, because, I mean, in my situation, all I would have is computer crap and the signals. I mean, I told you last night, compared to the in-person harassment other people suffered, mine wasn't much. And it was all government employees. Somebody I know. Yeah. I've been threatened. And it went on from, like, the in-person harassment. It had been going on for years. And then the people in my head said, my good friend got me involved in this. And I'm like, why would he do that? I'm like, this is the last person on earth I ever thought would do this to me. The guy actually seemed like he was absolutely crazy about me when we were younger. I mean, I couldn't get in trouble. And they gave me a reason. Now, was it bull crap? I don't know. But then the harassment started in person. It was maybe 20 times over the years, not much from what I hear other people complain of. And it stopped. You know, maybe in 2017 was the last time. But all I would have is, like, the signals. But I was just wondering if you've been threatened, because I've been threatened.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just asking.
No, I've been threatened multiple times. I also protect myself, and I know how to handle myself in the situation. I am ex-military. I know probably over 9 different types of martial arts, too. I always keep a knife on me. And although I am overweight, does not mean that I can't pick you up and slam you down to the ground.
Well, with me, the threat is with the weapon itself. I mean, I was talking to somebody. They said they can't kill you with that weapon. I said, I mean, I don't. You know, it's like mine is sort of an anomaly, but I've heard other people make similar complaints. Whoever has this weapon can kill me with it. I mean, they tighten up my throat. It just prolong it. I'm going to choke. They can expand. They can do anything they want to me. I mean, there's just no way.
They do those same type of things, but
I'm saying they like put pressure on my cranium. It feels like my head's going to explode. For a while there, my heart felt like, I mean, it was going to rip out of the chest. But I'm saying if you just prolong that, I would die. It's obvious. They really can kill me with that weapon.
Exactly. They call them non-lethal weapons, but the amount of pressure that they actually apply to it, they can, because they have access to your larynx. They have access to your nervous system. You stated yesterday that you were under complete body control, so they even manipulate you from going from one location to another. That is basically, they're controlling you through your nervous systems and motor functions.
Yeah, it's like I was trying to type and they started doing it. Sometimes they do it just to be a jerk. They took control of my hands, were tightening them up. It's like I was trying to type and I could feel, it's like on my arms at the lower part near the wrist. It's like they're pulling on it, and you can feel them pulling, but you can't function. But I was just wondering if you've been threatened, because a lot of TIs say when they try to stop this or whatever, they just increase it. And I was just wondering if that had happened to you. Unfortunately, it has. Okay, Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about it. But as I said, I have no physical pictures or anything. That's really not been too much of an involvement with me. It's that damn weapon itself.
Well, we could capture that weapon system. I have captured drones before being used. I've captured their frequency beams. I've captured neurological. I actually did an audio analysis today where I could prove the PCI technology and the Neuralink weapons that are connectum, that it was, they actually stated that it was an implant near the cochlear, which is in the ear. So they were having a problem with that connection. So those chips and sensors and implants are embedded into your body, whether you realize it or not. Some way or form, they got access, and there could be a implant inside of you, or a little chip or sensor that could cause those and that body manipulation too.
Yeah, whatever it is in my case, I won't take up all your time. I mean, I was out in my dad's backyard today. I mean, and he's got a big yard. I'm nowhere near the house. It doesn't change a thing. I look for drones. I don't see drones. I mean, it's a process of elimination. You sit there, how are they getting at me? Because with me, it's irrelevant where I am. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change a thing. I don't see drones. They could be invisible. I've looked at the night skies. There's no little twinkling stars. And I've also heard a theory. I was doing some research that they can now do it through DNA or just hook on your brainwaves. You don't even have to have an implant. You would know more about that than me. It's been thrown out there, though. By some people, it sounds credible.
No, and there is absolutely true, but that's where the tones come into play, because they are reading your energy. Your energy produces those, and that it is exasperated outside in order for them to connect to. I have been looking into it. I've only found one article. I haven't found a lot of information based off of it, so I'll tell you exactly how they're doing it. But I know it's possible.
Okay, yeah, because I went out and bought all these meters. It was documented and everything, and they're like, this really won't hold up in court. I got some ideas what they're doing to me, but I spend a fortune. And also, how much trouble do the TIs you work with have trouble finding an attorney?
They do have trouble finding attorneys. A lot of them also have trouble finding PIs, too. They can't afford it. So some do, some don't. I probably have 1, 2, 3, 4 clients right now that do have lawyers. You just have to go out there and push yourself. I wouldn't call them. I would go into the office and talk to them physically. That way they can't kick you out or deny you or ignore your phone calls or emails or things like that of that nature. If you walk into the office, they physically have to answer your questions for an hour.
Okay, yeah, because whoever was in my head told me my old friend got me into this, and he's pretty well known in the area. He just acted. I was wondering if that's going to be a problem because he's kind of a prominent figure now. I mean, I met him when I was 25.
If he's a prominent figure, doesn't mean if you could tie him to your targeting and he is directly involved, then you could take actions against him. If I find his name in an audio or a company that he works to, you have to learn how to link the information and do that research too. You just can't make assumptions. You have to do that research and find that evidence in order to connect the dots to press charges against somebody. It's not just as simple as walking in and say, it's my next door neighbor. Well, where's your evidence to prove it? What can you do to back it up? Do you have videos? Do you have pictures? Do you have the police reports? Did you file the proper? Did you get a restraining order against them? There's other avenues that you have to take personally in order to prove that that person is involved than just making assumptions.
Okay, well, yeah, as I said, in my situation, I know at least it's after that person, I mean, he's been going on for years. And you're like, why me, What did I ever do? You read about all the probabilities, why people think they got wrapped up in this program, vengeance, DNA. There's a lot of different theories. They just picked you at random. Somebody in my head finally said my friend got me involved in this. Now, did he? I don't know. But shortly after that, he started harassing me in person, him and his little friends. He's a government employee. You'll probably find their organization in your database. I almost guarantee you will. He's a government employee.
Well, anything on my website or my database, I don't collect unless I find it within my audios or videos.
Well, that's what I said. I know burden of proof. It's like they were suggesting meters. And I went out and I spent a lot of money on meters and found out. I know the burden of proof in court is high. It's not easy to prove. This is part of the quandary the TIs are in. And then getting a lawyer and getting it heard is another one. And you're just sitting here, how can I prove this? People are going to think I'm nuts. I'm not insane. I know how it sounds. And as I said, that's where we run into trouble. Getting the burden of proof, it's got to be there, it's got to be court admissible, it's got to hold up. That's why the meters I got and stuff, they're not admissible. But I didn't know it when I bought them. As
right.
I said, you get tired of wasting money. Does that make sense?
No, and I understand, but I even verified this with an officer. I went over and I'm like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you listen to this and see if you could hear it? And he's like, sure. He put on his headphones and he listened to it. I'm like, can you hear that? He's like, I hear it loud as day. I go, if I took this to you and wrote a report on it towards the victim and incident, would you look at it? And he goes, absolutely. If we had something like this that was that clear, we could prove these situations are occurring. So it's going to and talking to these officers too. Not all of them are bad. I may have a bad negligence side of them because of what I've dealt with my whole entire life. I mean, I have family in law enforcement.
Well, yeah, part of my quandary is he's now the chief of those bad people.
Okay. Well,
but after whoever told me was in my head that it was
right,
him,
but chief of
I went to his
police
district
have been brought down. And evidence, with enough evidence, the Twin Lakes PD, where I originally lived, after I moved, the chief of police got arrested for training his officers for police brutality. There were so many complaints that the officer or the chief got arrested, and he's in jail right now for the crime that he was committing. So there is ways to actually get the chief of police in trouble. If you, once again, but you cannot make assumptions, whether you knew him back or not, whether you dated him, whether you were affiliated, whether you were friends. You have to have that evidence to go after him.
Oh, I know this is part of the problem.
Make sure you have that evidence.
Yeah, and he wasn't the only one harassing me. Every time I harassed, it was somebody with a badge in a car. And as I said, I know you have to have the burden of proof in court. I know that, but apparently he's not the only one. Now, did he get me wrapped up in this? I can't say that. But after whoever told me that in my head, he got involved personally for a little bit, but it wasn't much compared. I mean, did they put a gun to his head and threaten him? Because they told me they threatened him. I mean, I don't know. That's the part I can't answer, but he's definitely involved now. Okay, I was just asking because I have been threatened.
Okay.
And I hear that from other TIs too. Okay, thanks.
Okay, next we have Barrie, Ontario, Canada. You're unmuted. Barrie, Ontario, you're unmuted. Okay, I guess they changed their mind. Okay, Michael from Anchorage, Alaska.
Hello? Hello?
Go ahead.
This is Barrie, Ontario. Can I still speak?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay. I just have maybe 2 questions for Amy. Amy, when my targeting started, I had stuff crawling all over me. That was one of my real bothersome symptoms that I experienced. I felt like there were ants crawling all over me. I went to different hospitals, and they kept trying to get me to get a psychiatric evaluation. At one point, I was at a hospital where I was checked into the psychiatric sector of it, and a doctor from the eMERGE came and spoke with me, and he spent about 2 minutes with me, and I explained briefly what I was going through about the break-ins in my house and the clicking of my closet door at night and the noises in the house, and he wrote me off as completely incapable of caring for myself within those 2 minutes of seeing me. And so he wrote, he gave me this little form that he had checked off various sections, pretty much rendering me incapable of caring for myself. And so I tore that form up, and I demanded to speak with the doctor at the psychiatric department. I said, I want to, so the doctor came in, and I said to her, I said, this other doctor from the emergency department came and spoke with me, not even for 2 minutes, and he has declared being incapable of caring for myself. I have 2 children, and what is happening to me is real. I have evidences, and I've actually had a friend who witnessed the gang stalking with me, so I was able to call her, and the doctor spoke with her, and she told the doctor that something unusual was going on in my life and that people were doing funny things around me, and that's what helped convince the doctor. And she says, you know what, I believe your story, but I cannot help you with the gang stalking, but I can help you with the stress that it comes with it. So I want you to take some medication. I said, I want you to destroy that record that the doctor has put on me, because now he's rendering me incapable. I have 2 kids that I have to care for, and I'm not allowing that on my record. And she says, don't worry, I disagree with him, and I'll take care of that for you, but I want you to take some. So she convinced me to take some form of antidepressant, which was a very low dose, which I tried for a few months. It wasn't doing anything. And I was confident and convinced that I wasn't crazy and that I didn't need that, and I was very much aware of what was happening to me. But those were the symptoms that took me there. The crawling, and I felt like something was wrapping around me. It was the weirdest, the scariest thing I have ever experienced. I just want to know if you are able to tell me if it is a weapon-related attack at all, or what that could be.
With the voices that you're experiencing?
No, pretty much the feeling of like ants crawling all over me.
The electrical. Yes. Okay. So basically, that covers up into what is like Morgellons disease. They actually have an equipment like an electrical taser. And what they do is they hit you with these tasers that makes you get that itching and burning sensations all over your body So you start to itch your skin raw, so it starts overheating, and it causes that burning sensation. That is also a neurological link. Everything has to deal with a neurological link when it's affecting your body systems, even if they're hitting a specific area like your foot. And I actually have information. I'll talk about that later on that. They actually send those signals down to you. So what they can do is cause an electrical shock to get you those itching and burning sensations, to feel like they're bugs crawling over you. So that's what it is. It's an electrical taser.
Okay, so that's what they were doing. Yeah, it was really scary because I've never had anything like that. And these mean doctors kept turning me away. They just kept forcing the idea of psychiatric, to analyze me, and I just kept refusing. I just kept saying, you know what, thank you, I appreciate it, but I don't feel that this is what I need. I need some form of protection because I am under attack. I know I'm under attack. I met with I went to the police a few times, and they connected me. I think at this point there were some members of the police force here in Berry that didn't know what was happening to me, and they were genuine and they were trying to help. So they connected me to their victim services department, and I actually met with them, and I showed them pictures of my backyard door being broken in. My patio door was also always left open mysteriously when I was away, and made sure everything was locked. So I met with victim services, and they gave me a ton of advice. They advised me to actually move, and they told me to get cameras and stuff, and I followed the advice. The moving part I wasn't sure about because there was nothing available for me. I was in government housing, and so I wasn't sure if I could afford to move anywhere else. So it was kind of hard. I was kind of waiting on that. But the victim services were there. They were ready to support me. So for some reason I kept feeling like, well, I need to get evidence from these people. I just knew something wasn't right. So I asked once the stalking started, I called the lady that I met with, the victim service head lady there, and I said, can I have a letter stating that these were my concerns and I met with you and these were your suggestions that you gave me? And she said, yeah, no problem. I can send you that letter. And I said, oh, that would be great. I also got a letter from the people that I was renting from, and I asked the lady there I knew very well. So I said, please, can you give me a letter stating the things that have happened to me with the house? So that maybe if I'm looking for another government housing, they could see things up for me to get it. But I wasn't really thinking of moving. I just wanted evidence. So she wrote me a letter, but she didn't put any explanation into the letter saying that this and this was what was happening in the home, why she wants to relocate. But she did give me a letter, so I have that. But the victim services people I never heard from. I tried to contact, they never answered. I think they got threatened not to give me that letter. And another thing that was happening was, like I said, the clicking of the door at night. How were they doing that? Do you know how they were possibly doing that?
Locking your emails to and from the place?
No. At night they were attacking me with some kind of demonic. To me, it felt demonic. Like I felt like there were demons in my house. Like there was stuff would move, chairs would move, and my closet doors would click. Like somebody was like tapping on them at night, and sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. One, I'm not sure if you believe in ghosts or not. Two, it could be microwave pulse energy or directed energy weapons. If you have enough centrifugal force, I believe it is, that it would actually push out of items away because of how much pressure that it's applying to the objects. So they can be using the directed energy just as a higher level in order to get those objects to move. As for ghosts and spirits, I am a person of faith. If you believe in God, you have to believe in demons. And if you believe in demons, you believe in Satan, which you believe in ghosts. Not all people are on this plane. Some people are trapped. I do believe that. Have I found evidence of ghosts? No. I've never captured any spirits at all. So, but the demonic voices, like growling sounds, those are from a programmable keyboard. What they do, or a voice box, they change and can create sounds in their keyboards and play those sounds. So they could get like a demon sound, program it to the letter G, and then you hear that sound, you know. And then that would probably be through some form of like B2K or throwing sounds from a different appliance, because different appliances are used, like your microwave, your TV, your stove, your refrigerator, with their coil systems that were created back in 2016. So if those are two possible aspects, you could look at that. I do believe ghosts. I've seen some TIs give me pictures of ghosts that I cannot explain. They look like black figures, and it looked like it literally crawled through the window and was walking through the wall. But it's picture images and not a video. So I couldn't analyze that with the sound quality, but I could at least analyze the pictures for them.
I think that you're right in that they were using technology, but I think there was a little bit of something also with, because they try everything, right? They try whatever they can. Yeah. I was also I even last night or the night before, I woke up with burns on my breast and a bubble, like when you get burned, you know, that bubble. They call it bristles. That is very common for me these days. I don't know how they're doing that. I've been to the they've also given me what they call it ptosis of the face, like one eye is droopy. They work on the muscle of my eyelid, and I can feel it moving and tensing up and then releasing. They do that a lot. So one of my eyes is kind of droopy as well, like the eyelid is sagging. Than the other one. I don't know why it's happening to my face, like what they're trying to do with that. Like, do you have any idea? Like, they're really working on me. It's ridiculous.
Actually, I did find evidence of that, of they were actually using a drone on that specific person and the victim. What they were doing was they had, actually I found two causes. An implant where it was behind the implant and the microchip and the sensor. It was implanted into the back of their skull near the brain. And it connects to the nervous system and can reach the different areas of your body. The other implant was found near the cochlear, which was right behind the left lobe, which connects easily to your optical nervous systems and your facial nervous systems. There's probably around, there's many different kinds of nervous systems, but there's three main nervous systems within your body that controls major functions. So I just did this. Can't remember the nervous system specifically. The copula?
It's all related to the nervous system and the brain, right? That's how they're getting to.
That's how they're controlling the body's functions. They could go from your facial features and actually control your lips, your eyebrows, your nose, your throat, and then connect it through the brainstem in your spine, because that has your throat, and then you have the nervous system through the larynx, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that they can open and close that. They could also get for children, I was doing research on this, they could actually swell a specific portion of your tongue, but all the medical research that actually closes the throat says it's not in adults. So that cannot tie into that. It only ties into the children aspect when they're trying to close your throat. So there's different avenues that they could do, but that's what they do. They map out your body simultaneously, and they work on different areas of your body too. So, and that gives them the picture and image to do the neural construct through the nervous system and map everything out. So, yeah, that's where the data mining comes, and the constant with the weapon systems. Like, some people feel like they're scanning. They're getting an MRI scan. Well, technically they are getting scans. They're getting those scans, and then that picture and images is getting loaded back up into their data system, where they read, and they could start reconstructing the neural link to your nervous system and mapping it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it's awful, and it's ongoing. My son has severe asthma, and I believe they also manipulate his asthma as well. And we are in a really, really bad spot. But I'm hanging in, and my faith keeps me strong. But I'm very determined, and I am not going to give up. I don't know the point of what you're doing with me, whether it's experimental or whether it's to slowly get rid of me. I don't know what the point is. But
some people I could find information of why they are targeted. Some people I cannot. It just depends on what you give me at that time to analyze. One person I found out that they stated that there was alcohol involved. Now, I never talked to the victim. This was after the analysis. And I'm like, she's like, I don't understand why either. And I'm like, they stated it was alcohol related. Have you ever had a related incident, like maybe when you were younger, a DUI or something? Like, I don't know the victim's past and history. I don't know if they were ever in jail. And she's like, no, I was hit by a drunk driver. So turns out that drunk driver, when we were looking into it, was actually related to ESPN. And that's actually a person that is standing on grand trial against the worker from ESPN for the drinking and driving. So they're using the technology to attack and spy on the case. So they could collect information and manipulate it into the court systems.
Wow.
But that only happens with a couple of people. I can't find that for everyone. But it just depends on what I find during the analysis process and what they're talking about.
Yeah, because with me, I believe there is some form of the sex trafficking thing with it and other things. But I think that they basically loan you off to anyone who wants to experiment with you with their weapon. That's how I feel it's happening with me, because I get all kinds of stuff, but I do get the sexual stimulation a lot. And they're trying that also with, my family. So I do know that it's criminal. With me, it probably could be a criminal organization behind it, but it's just so complex. I just don't understand. I don't understand who, why, who, and but it was, anyway, What are you going to think of?
I can't tell you that unless I do something personally for you or analyze one of your audios and videos. That would be something personally because they're personally attacking you. I can tell you the main reasons. A lot of it is human experimentation, practicing their weapon systems with the use of drones, because they're going to start using this in war and combat, okay? They want those systems. It's triangulation methods. They're fixing their alignment systems. They're working on precision and accuracy with their weapon systems. And unfortunately, we as U.S. citizens in other locations wear the blunt of their products. We're the key to their human experimentation. So the data mining and the processing, these people sell that for money. Facebook is taking this money. Facebook is highly involved. Out of 300 victims I analyzed, over 90% have Facebook involvement in there. Probably only 5% I could link it back to Elon Musk with the Neuralink systems. Why the difference? Well, they're working on two different technologies. HCI programming, which one ladies, I apologize, I can't remember her name, but the speech to text, she uses the speech to text for her computer equipment, bots, Alexa, thinking about that in Google, okay? Those are basically bots that they're using. So they're using pre-programs to create this, to start helping these people, and they put those bots inside the programs in their systems too. So depending on what type of technology that they're working on, they are doing human experimentation. And the third one is sex trafficking. There's a huge call. You have no concept about how many times on it that I find them always viewing them in a sexual nature. Raping a person, raping men, women, and children. It's not just one individual. It's happening to many people. Blood blisters in their private areas from getting beat all the time, forcing them to masturbate or get a hard-on, so they're forced to masturbate so they see. And they can video it, and they show those pictures and images to the other perpetrators. They have one live streaming it, and then the other ones are cutting and editing the video and then selling the videos to the people to watch.
Wow.
Okay, does that answer your question?
That answers my question, Amy. I really appreciate you. I appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you so much. I will get in touch with you, and then maybe you can help me get some more, enlightenment about my situation. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Barry, Ontario. Next, we have Mike from Anchorage, Alaska. Go ahead, Mike. You're unmuted.
Yes. Thank you for the advice on about rubber being the material to ground myself, because I wore a rubber boot to sleep last night, and they tried to attack my feet again last night, but I could feel they're trying, but it didn't work last night, but they attacked my upper body. So they kept me up for a few hours because of that. They attacked my chest area, and I was breathing, so I was wide awake. I was energized for a few hours, but they weren't successful in attacking my feet and calves.
Oh, and, you're welcome.
And
sorry.
And
well,
over the yesterday and today, you kept mentioning the radio towers technology rather than using the term cell tower technology. And I was very curious about that, because I don't hear too many people use the term radio towers that much. Only thing I hear is cell towers and satellites and all that. But you also said that radio tower technology is used when you use against a target when the target is driving or in the car, to stop the engine or whatever they do. So question number one I have is that can they use this radio tower technology, like AM, FM radio tower technology, against the targets at home?
Yes. Yes, they can. Radio towers, they could use it on anything because a lot of them have radio adaptions into it. Even in their computer processors, speakerphones, like TV speakers, they have to have those radio connectivities because of the Bluetooth connectivities too. So what they're doing is they're accessing the Bluetooth connection into the devices, which are actually communicated through the radio towers too.
Okay, and question number two, can you quickly explain the basic difference between radio tower technology and cell tower technology, if there is a difference?
Well, cell towers and radio towers, basically they use the same aspect, except cell towers are actually owned by the providers. So depending on if you have Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile, you're going to be able to hook up to that specific cell tower, that provider, so they collect the data and information. That's why, and you could also get booted out. If a lot of people are on one tower, then it'll boot you off that tower to go to the closest or the nearest other tower. And that tower might be in a different town or in a different location if you're stationary, but at least you're keeping signal. So cell towers and radio towers, they act similar in the connections, but cell phones are actually towards the provider. So you'll never see the city own a cell tower, but you'll see the city own radio towers because each city has their own radio stations. So they have to be able to broadcast their signals to everyone within their local area, which means they're not only producing on an LAN network, but a WAN network too, where cell towers are usually an LAN somewhere within your own local area that you're constantly connected to.
Okay, now I have two radio towers right across the street from me, and had I known about this, I wouldn't have ever moved into this apartment, but I don't have any choice now. I see the towers every day. And that parking lot where the cell towers are located, I see stalkers in automobiles every day, between 4 to 8 stalkers. And I could see it from my binoculars. Every day there's a different cars parked there, and I know they're watching me. Now, just to get a picture of the auto and sometimes the license plate, would that give me enough information for you to investigate further, or do I need to have the picture of the driver as well as their name? And next question is, what kind of video camera that TI should have just to carry around with me so that I'll be able to take good photos or good videos?
As for the quality, that kind of depends on your price range on what you could afford. Some of the best qualities I've actually found on the cheapest devices. Why? Because they're so simplistic and they're basically running off a single channel. So, but some of other ones I've caught based off of a computer system. As for, I'll get back to the question about the pictures and images. The quality of the camera just doesn't depend, but something to protect yourself if you're going to be driving all the time. I bought a camcorder, or you can buy 2 camcorders, right? So you could have a front and a back view. I stuck Velcro into it. So it's not installed to the vehicle, but you could stick the camcorder on the back seat and on the front dash. That way you have a front and back video of your whole entire time. That's what I did. I had the SD card. So whenever I went shopping, all I did was have to take the camcorder and stick it into my purse or my bag with me. That way nobody could steal the evidence while I was inside the store shopping. And you would also have it with you, and then you could stick it on your clothing or put it on a clip and just carry it around as a body cam too. So I could actually capture any video and I could clean the quality up. It kind of depends on the best quality of sound. It has to go with the specifications of the device though. Is there one? No, because I have analyzed so many different types of computing devices from different iPhones, from years, makes, and models, to different Androids, to different dash cams, years, makes, and models, to handheld audio players from Memorax or from Olympus, that none of them have been universal so far for me to say which one is the best or not. So I can't really tell you which one is the best one. I apologize for that. But so I could get off of anything.
Which video images were you able to see easier for you? From what camera? Can you tell me that?
Video images from the camera. The best quality that I probably ever had was the Ring system or the security camera system. Or it was I would have to look into it. I have a file.
That's okay, but I would like to know the two camcorders that you have or you put in your vehicle. I would like to know the model. I don't know. I may not be able to afford it now, but I may keep that information for in the future for future use.
The one that I bought was a $20 one from Walmart.
Really?
Yeah. It was on sale during Christmas time. I actually lost that camera when I took it on a boat. We hit a wave and it flew out of my hand and into the water system. So I no longer have it anymore.
So you could actually put two little camcorder, one in the front and one for the back while you're driving. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I just stuck Velcro on it. I have some suggestions onto my website. One is a Fly 360. That actually videotapes in a 60-degree manner and can get all the images from front, side, and back. Another one is a cop camera. Cop cameras have great footage, great picture quality. Not so good on the sound quality, but they have great picture quality for them. So
what is it called? Did you say Cox?
No, cop camera. C-O-P. Cop camera.
It's C-O-P.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And about the images of the photos that I take, the stalkers, parked across the street. I could take a picture of their photo and the license plate. That's not good enough, is it, as a evidence?
No, you have to have them doing something. If you have the license plate number and that vehicle doing something specific to you on video at another time, then those could be collaborated together and proven that that vehicle was involved. But just a picture of a license plate, you need something to prove that that license plate is actually involved into the targeting, because otherwise it's just a picture of a car.
Okay. Another curious term that you used during today's conference is something to do with their reading your energy. Now, does the term energy is it synonymous, or is it same as reading your frequency or your force or whatever? Is that what you mean by that? When you say they're reading your energy?
Yes. That is kind of what I meant by it. They're actually getting your energy produces these tones, I guess. They're on specific notes or on specific levels. When I do the analysis process, I could actually see the notes on the frequencies that they're commuting on. So I take pictures of those too. And you could actually pop it up into the WavePad system, and you could see what going over the picture or the audio file, what each note is and what frequency level that they're on too. So that's the energy that I was talking about, is because your body produces so much electrical, and since we have the neural links, that energy is just expanded because they're providing more electricity into our body that we need. And that's why every victim that we have that is in the TI community has low salt, low sugar, and low red blood cells. That's because the hemoglobin from their electrical pulses within your body structure actually screw up the readings within your blood. So your white and red blood cell counts will always be inaccurate as you're getting a test. But that's why we're dehydrated so much, is because they're sucking that salt and sugar out of our body systems, because they're using that to heat up the neurons and the electrons within our body and make them spin, which is actually, it's called an oscillator. And what that oscillator does, this is what causes a lot of the burning sensations too, or the itching sensations. I haven't found it directly into the itching, but the burning I have. The oscillator actually heats up the water inside your body, takes the electrons and the neutrons and the protons, and then they spin them around, which causes the heat and the vibration of your cells, and heats up your body temperature and warms your blood within your skin.
Wow. And I have another question related to the term you just used, frequency. Can you translate the term frequency, or is it translatable to hertz or cycles per second? From what I understand, that's what it means.
Well,
yes.
You can transfer them, and you have to remember what you're talking about when you're transferring them. Are you talking about the hearing level, which would be in decibels, or are you talking about the frequencies, and which is like the hertz, I believe? So you're always able to convert one form to the other, but you need the converter. And a lot of people, when they're analyzing their audios and these frequencies and the spectrograms and the EMF to the ELF on their readers, they're forgetting about the conversion process from transferring it from one to the other.
Okay, now this is a final question. A scientist is quite old now, and he thinks that the energy weapon attacks are in the range of 0.3 hertz cycle to 3 hertz cycle, and he thinks that when I listened to the interview, he thinks that it was caused by he thinks now, a class 4 transmitter. Now, let's do the hypothetically, let's say that that's true, that the energy that we're getting attacked are within that range, 0.3 to 3 hertz. Now, if we are able to change our brain's hertz level through exercise or whatever, mental training, do your, whatever exercise, do your prayers, positive thinking, etc. If
Right.
you're able to drop that hertz, that range, attack range from 0.3 to 3 to, let's say, lower than that. And I've heard monks and yogis and, really people do that. They go down to 0.1 hertz. Now, you think it's possible that we may not be affected by the energy attacked? I'm sure we get attacked other ways, but as far as the energy weapon goes, you think is it possible that we could avoid their attack or at least diminish their attacks?
Well, you're talking more on like the meditation level, right? Breathing, helping with changing your breathing habits and your patterns too, like holding in for 8 seconds, holding it for 4, then releasing it for 6. Changing your breathing pattern could actually make you more adaptive, like even to the colder areas like you are, even in Alaska, right? I was actually watched a video on a guy who climbed Mount Everest in his shorts, and he says that he can change his conductivity of the weather and the adaptation process through his breathing processes that he's doing. So I was looking into his breathing mechanisms and stuff like that. So it is possible. Like I said, I really don't practice meditation, so I can't give you a definitive answer on that. All I could, okay. I'm not much on the meditation.
Okay, Mike, does that wrap it?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Frank.
All righty.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Next, Dr. Fahana Ahmad. Go ahead. You are unmuted.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Okay. So I'm a physician, as you call me a doctor, and my targeting began when I was doing residency in United States, and I get all sorts of torture, synthetic telepathy anytime, and physical torture and sexual torture, and then they are stalking me on the digitally and also stalking me all around, so the way it is with everybody else. And sometimes they keep me awake on phone nights, and then they interrogate me, and they ask, they know everything about my past, and I do not, they say that everything is in amygdala and they can read it, and then they make me, like, I feel so dissociated at sometime after 3 or 4 nights. Once I did it for 15 nights. It was my summer vacation time, so I have to do a job. And when I became afraid of driving. Recently, I've started to drive again, and then they start talking, and they send waves that make me like I was not totally aware of things. And then they said that this is how drunk driving is. So they are just much stupid. So I wanted to ask, like, what kind of shielding I can use, because I cannot, it's terrible. It's like, I don't know how to stop them. I go outside and they are all the time driving around, and then they have disconnection all the time. Sometimes it's very severe and they do it 24/7. But otherwise, they're all the time sending some word. And sometimes when I'm taking lecture, it's online because of COVID right now, so they put they put words into my mind to confuse me. So this is, I have to earn, so I have to do my job, but they have made my life so sick. I don't know what kind of shielding I can use and how can I prevent all this high-tech advancement. The way somebody else said that I sometimes feel that they are in my room and there is a drone just 24/7 flying above my house, but I have no means to get sometimes I get photos on my iPhone, but then they are not the same numbers. So even my family doesn't believe me, and and the psychiatrists who have seen me, despite telling each and everything, despite my doing a job, a regular job, and like teaching students and everything, they still diagnose me as having schizophrenia, and they want to give me medicines that have so many side effects. So I want to know what kind of shielding I can use, and what we should do as a community to make people believe, have laws against these people, because they shouldn't be allowed to do these things.
Right.
How can we, like UN, we realize that these things shouldn't be done? Like, we are ordinary people. What kind of harm we can do to anyone? Like, what kind of people they are? Like, most of us are regular people who are trying to do our jobs. We are not military people. We are not spies. We are not. So why they are like continuously doing this thing, like keeping a person awake all the time and doing the interrogation if I'm a terrorist, or what kind of joy people get out of it? To me, it appears as if it was a reality show for people with power and people with advanced technology. They get some kind of fun out of it, and how can I stop it?
Okay, first off, stopping it is not so easy. We need to find out who is doing this to you first and then take legal action against them. And unfortunately, there are no laws on this technology. That is our biggest problem in this area, or even within the United States, is that there are no laws on AI systems, robotics, virtual reality, augmented reality, HCI, BCI, Neuralink technology, holograms. There are no technology on the books, even data mining for us. All of our rules and regulations are actually conducted against the companies and corporations. Like, they protect us in some aspects, like our OSHA laws, right, which is supposed to protect our health, our company policies and so forth. That's supposed to help us as well. So basically, to get laws into the books is going to be a hard problem for us. As for things that we could associate that, the United Nations actually has a 4 questionnaire that a lot of TIs and victims are actually filling out currently at this time. So some of those things on those questions, even for question number 1, what is the most legal, practical way or challenges that produces this gap? Well, drones are one of them. There's no rules and regulations on drones, okay? They have to register, but these people or these military members are hosting a cloud service and allowing customers to come in and use the drone to attack the person with the drone. So they technically are legal because they have the drone and properly registered, but yet the way that they're operating the business is illegal because they're letting outside sources use that technology and collect money and payments on it too. So drones, there are no rules and regulations on drones. Another one is the transparency, the Patriot Act, the Espionage Act, the Department of Justice, the red flag laws. Think about all the illegal activity. They no longer need a search warrant anymore to spy on a citizen. Look how they're in the United States, they're attacking just Republicans now. If you voted Republican, you're deemed a criminal. They're going to spy on everybody just on the Republican Party, which is what my audios are all about. Is basically it's Democrats, more on the political side, pushing for that Democratic agenda, the social engineering tactics. Although social engineering is a crime, you have to prove that they're committing those social engineering tactics, which the audio evidence does prove the social engineering side, but it doesn't connect it to the Patriot Act, the Espionage Act, which is a violation of our Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. These people, there's no way to track Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, what they're using now. So they're buying these programs and they're using Bitcoin like Viet platforms, DreamHash, Etsy. Etsy is a big Bitcoin now that is being accepted all into all the different types of stores, from Home Depots to Walmart centers. They're starting to collect those cryptocurrency, but there's no way to track and trace those cryptocurrencies. Why? Because it's all in binary coding. So there's no legal actions how to connect, like they could connect us using our bank account and our debit card number, right? So cryptocurrency is another way that they're acting with these. So another one is the FCC transmissions. There's actually a loophole in the FCC policies and procedures. Yes, I've read every single policy and procedure from the FCC. There is a loophole that allows you to actually walk in. If that's why they keep such a wide bandwidth within these transmissions. Because anybody that crosses in a path of these towers, these cell towers, these radio towers, these signals, the 5G towers, they are able to track, trace, monitor, surveil at their will. So basically anybody can be surveilled at any time just by that small loophole that is created by the FCC. The medical industry, the pharmaceutical companies, this actually ties into the medical field. Why? Because they're the major lobbyists in the politicians. They are paying for the politicians to create laws. That's why they're so heavily protected. There's no laws that we could sue these medical companies. And with the Brain Initiative Act back in 2016, that the Obama administration created, allowed the medical scientists and the research to conduct connectivities to our brain and do medical research without our consent. So they're able to share our medical histories, our MRIs, our EEG readings, our sleep apnea tests, our x-rays with other companies and corporations behind your back in knowledge. But yet we still have to request that. We still have to get permission and FOIA request to get a copy of our medical records. Meanwhile, they're selling it for a big money in price and making money off of it, which is where the data mining and the processing comes from.
Amy?
Yeah.
Dr. Fahana has a very bad connection. I'd like to ask her if she can speak and get her last questions out, possibly. Okay?
Okay.
So I told you that I stalked on digital, everything which is digital, like on TV, on iPhone, and anything digital on my laptop. So I contacted Apple company. I got I found out that my phone was being used by someone in Islamabad. So I took a picture of it, and then I sent it to. I talked to their support, and they never denied that these technologies do not exist. And they said that I should contact our country's cybercrime unit. Mm-hmm. And I connected them, and they said that come up with evidence and come to our office. And they gave only 3 days, and it was in a way that I was not able to see it correctly because they spy on my phone. So that cybercrime person never, like they said that they said since I didn't come in time, so they just let my appeal go away. So I don't know like how when these companies know that these things are going on. So why shouldn't we boycott these? We should. They never said. I contacted Amazon. They never said that these technologies do not exist, but they said they cannot help. One of their employee even got access to my cell phone and tried to find out which kind of a drone is there, and she said that there is probably one, but then they didn't want to help. And all the time they say that we have such a good system of so nobody can get an access to an iPhone, and it's only possible if you have a contact in your phone and he has access to your Bluetooth. So I don't know what kind of companies these are, whether any kind of law can be passed against them, or we should all call them and we should write to them and should ask them to either stop saying that their phones cannot be accessed. The problem is in modern times we have to use these gadgets and these devices because we have groups on WhatsApp and we have to we need to increase our knowledge through these devices. So I don't know how if it is possible to talk to them. Like it's difficult while I'm in Pakistan, but they have their headquarters in the United States, Facebook and Apple and Google and their deep mind technologies and all that stuff. So you can reach them and make them realize that start saying it, that these things are not accessible, and start saying these things do not exist.
Okay, Dr. Farhana, I suggest that you send an email directly to Amy because there are issues that you have that cannot be answered simply in a few moments.
Right. Dr. Farber, I know that you could reach out to Dr. Farber. He's out in New York. He is willing to help out victims. I could give you his information privately. If you email me, he'll be able to help you on that process too. So at least on the psychological portion, if you ever need him for court cases or things like that. As for requesting your data, if you lived in Pakistan and other different countries too, check to see if you ever belong to the GDPR. You can download your data and request your data through the GDPR. You could also, what else you could do is that you could also take a FOIA request. FOIA request, and in the United States, you need a FOIA, a subpoena, or a warrant in order to get that information, which the warrants and subpoenas you file through the courthouse, and then they'll have to turn over all the records and the information that you want and need, especially with the use of drones. They'll tell you the make and model and everything.
Where can I find your email address, Amy?
It's capital A. Do you have a pen and piece of paper?
Yes.
It's capital AIMEES, capital AUDIOS at protonmail.com. Amy's Audios at protonmail.com.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So it is capital AIMEES, capital AUDIOS at proton.com.
Yes,
protonmail.com.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next question from Trent.
You know what? I just got the answer. Because does she have a website too?
Yes, she does.
Yes. It is
okay.
HTTP semicolon // www.amysaudios.com.
Spelled the same way as you are currently spelling it in your email, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. So it's amysaudios.com.
So is it AIM?
AIMEESAUDIOS.com.
Okay. .com. Okay. Good. Thank you. That was the only thing I needed to know. Okay, thanks.
All right. Next, we have Albert. Albert, you're unmuted.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, this is Gina on Albert's line. I was wondering if Amy could explain if my attacks have all been cyber. I have not seen anything. I have not heard anything. Everything has been cyberly done. How do you reconcile that with a lawyer?
Wait, I'm sorry. What was something about the lawyer?
Everything that's happening to me is being done cyber. Why I'm not seeing anybody. I actually have no idea who's attacking me each day and night.
Okay. So you want to know how to find a cybercrime lawyer?
Cybercrime lawyer. Let me. I'm sorry. I'm going to write this down. Okay. Yes. Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah, it would. You would have to look that up within your state or within your vicinity of specifically lawyers that work with cybercrimes.
Okay.
Each lawyer has their own profession, whether it's bankruptcy, insurance, whether it's fraud. So each one is different. So you would, if it's specifically dealing with cybercrime, you would need to go to a cybercrime lawyer for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Okay, next we have Boston, Massachusetts. Go ahead, you're unmuted.
Hi, my name is Heidi. I just have a question. How can you prove if aircraft is following you? How can you prove that?
Doing the audio analysis.
How would you do that, though?
You would record a video or an audio, and I would analyze it to see if the plane is following you or if they're using a drone. There's different ways that, as if you're traveling down the road from state to state, different locations, things like that, that would I would be able to capture that information onto it. But they have to be using that drone. If you think it's a drone and it's not a drone, I'm not going to find any information on the drone. Most of the time when you're traveling, it's always through the use of radio towers. But that doesn't mean that they don't use a drone. But drones could only travel for a certain amount of time without running out of power, battery. If they're using solar, that solar power is going to wear out during the nighttime, so they have to figure out some way. They would have to have a backup battery pack or a power supply to it. Their engines overheat too, so they have to figure out some way how to convect them so there's heat transference between the systems and the components. That way it doesn't get overheated and overfried too. Doing the analysis process, we would have to prove that. Otherwise, there was actually a technique that I'm looking into too that was actually developed from some IT guys out in Israel that could actually map out and prove drones. So I haven't found any information on their application yet or what they're using, but once I figure that out, I will definitely let you guys know or let Frank know.
So how can somebody reach you again?
You could contact me via email, you could contact me through my website, or you can contact me by my phone. My phone number is 815-307-4619.
Okay, and when can I actually give you a call?
I'm usually available throughout the day. If I don't answer you right away, I'm usually busy or working on an audio analysis or something. I'll always give you a call back or message you or let you know why I couldn't answer the phone. Through various times, usually available anytime. Wednesdays, currently, I'm not available till after 3 o'clock. So after 3 o'clock, you could give me a call on Wednesdays. But usually, I'm always willing to pick up the phone and talk to people and help them out with their situation.
Can you mention that phone number again, please? The chat would like to know.
815-307-4619.
Okay, and does that complete your question, Boston?
And your name again is Amy, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have Anonymous. Go ahead, Anonymous. You're unmuted.
Yeah, also, what type of lawyer, if you just had like this, how much time's worth of recording do you need? Like to do an analysis?
Oh, I've got anything within 5 seconds to 10 seconds. I could capture anything within a certain amount of period of time. In a 10-second video, I've captured information about implants, breaking in, entering into a home, video voyeurism, and sexual assault, all within 10 seconds.
Okay, well, with my situation, it's just the signals. Like the signal analysis, you said you can hear the voices and stuff?
Yes. It's different what they're using. They use different effects to cover up their voices. So, yes, we will be able to capture every single person that is operating within their home site. As a matter of fact, I could actually capture their 611 call center communications.
Okay, how much time's worth of recording would you need somebody to forward you to be able to analyze something like that?
What do you mean? It all depends on how much. To do a full analysis takes a serious amount of time. Sometimes it's depending on how many you have on there. For instance, I could find 1 to 2 people on there. They're using a single monitor system, or they're using a hosting site. So you're going to have 75 people to 100 on there. So there's a difference in analyzing each process, how long it takes.
Okay, yeah, that's why I was asking. How much time's length of recording would we have to forward to you for something like that?
You could send me any amount of length.
Okay, so it wouldn't have to be all day, every day, because
no.
I do constantly get hit. And another question is, I've heard they take nice life insurance policies out on us. Do you have any evidence that happens?
I do have insurance company involvement, not evidence on the policies. insurance companies are involved, they connect and send their data back to them, or I caught them sending links. I can't say data because I'm not sure if it's data or not. I caught them sending links to the insurance companies, but I have no proof and evidence of the policies.
Yeah, because I know I looked at it. To appeal to the International Criminal Court, which is, the United States is not a signatory, you have to exhaust all your efforts locally, and everybody has to turn you down. And, yeah, then there's the UN. Okay, thanks a lot.
Right.
Right.
To add on to that of what she was talking about, I do sections too. So if you want some weapon systems and you know that you're being attacked, like let's say you have a 2-hour recording, but you know you're being attacked at the 1 hour mark in 10 minutes, and it stopped at 1 hour and 50 minutes, okay? Usually you would want to go ahead at least 10 to 20 seconds either before or after, so you can capture the incidences before the attack occurred. So
my attack never stops. They never stop.
Right, let me explain my procedures to you. So if you have a specific area and location, it doesn't matter that length of the audio and video. I'll analyze and specifically go on that in that specific area and analyze the specific area for you. Now, in another concept, you also have to realize that usually if you don't mark up I have to start at the beginning and go to the end of that file. So there's a reviewing process. I have to capture everything on the top portion of that reviewing process and then go down to the bottom portion of that reviewing process. So, and depending, they could change their depth of even what they're doing their frequencies on. One victim I had, they changed their bandwidth to 100 different channels just so they could bounce back and forth between them so they couldn't be captured, because the guy knew that he was recording to send it to me. But I caught them doing that, and I had to go through all those 100 different frequencies that was captured inside the audio to capture their communications. And I must have found 70 different people just within that section. So that takes a long time because they're compiling the signals on top of each other and they're overlapping them. So they're on different layers. So one person will be saying this, but underneath another person is saying this with a different digital effect. So I have to separate those or combine them together to get a full sentence to find out what the occurrence is doing.
Okay, and so you think it's real people. Because you don't know who's in your head.
People.
Okay,
there's real people, there's
some people
AI
think it's
systems, there's
thought. Okay. Yeah, so some people say it's real people, some people say it's AI. I'm like, I don't know, but there's somebody in my brain that shouldn't be there. There's something. Okay,
right.
Thanks.
Well, somebody is controlling the system. The AI is just not hooked up to you and letting it press play. There's real people controlling the systems and the functions behind it. They have to operate the AI system.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. And also, if we pursue this, do we have to pursue legal action, or can we do it out of personal interest and sit on it?
No, you could do whatever you want with it. You paid for it. It's yours.
Okay, I'm thinking about it. As I said, the threats are what scares me. I'm being threatened. Okay.
Call me tomorrow, would you please?
Sure. Okay, I'll let you go. And as I said, Frank, I called the state insurance agency like you told me to.
Yep.
And they said it's impossible. They can't take out insurance policies on you without your knowledge. Don't worry about it. I said, okay.
Okay, things have changed since I called.
I live in Ohio. It's a different state. Maybe your state is different. I called like maybe a year ago, That's what they told me.
Right,
Okay.
and different rules and regulations, even with the company that I captured on there, the insurance company, it doesn't mean that it was a policy on the victim. It could be the insurance company for their products, because different type of military equipment or different medical equipment, like me, I could have cybersecurity insurance. I could have defamation of character insurance. All of these I have to have for my company and business, that there's certain insurance policies that I need to cover myself and the assets and separate them from my home, so no, I can't get sued. So just because insurance companies are involved doesn't mean that they're not involved. They are heavily involved because they're covering their assets.
Okay, Vicki, does that do it for you? Okay, next we have Deborah. You are unmuted.
Hi, Frank. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
This is Deb in St. Louis from last night. I don't know if you guys remember, I told you that when I came home from work yesterday, there was a surveillance camera that was put in on the telephone pole outside in the alley. And this morning, the young lady, the couple downstairs that are perps, the woman moved out, like in a hurry. And so that was kind of crazy. And this is the first day since I moved in here, March 1st, that I wasn't, like since April 17th for sure, that I haven't been vibrated. It was so awesome to not be vibrated. And I was like, what happened? You know, and I was standing in the kitchen about 6:15, and I started getting that familiar, my hands ache, my skin burns, and then I start vibrating. And I was standing near the refrigerator and noticed it started running. So I turned it off with the controls on the inside. And it immediately stopped, the refrigerator and my vibration. And then about 10 minutes later, I could hear this noise like the motor was running on the inside, and it was trying to start. But through this whole day, I have heard somebody messing with the ceiling below my feet, near my outlets and stuff like that. And when I contacted my landlord and asked if I could rent that apartment downstairs because I thought they were both leaving, he said it was just the girl. And I was like, oh, okay, so he's still there. But anyway, so I unplugged the refrigerator from the wall. Can you explain to me, you said earlier something about they manipulate our appliances. I've known that they've weaponized every refrigerator I've ever had. And how do they do that? What exactly are they doing?
They could be doing it three ways, okay, depending on how old the apartment complex is and what type of pipings and so forth. They can be conducting through the pipes and the electricity through there. Two is using the electrical grid system, the smart grid system with their smart meters, and they could actually use that with the dirty electricity and the power and connect directly into your home. The third is through the different types of chips and sensors inside of the appliances, or actually there's more than that. There's also the coil systems. The coil systems that were actually developed by 2016 by the Department of Energy, okay? I was talking about this a little bit earlier, where the Clinton Foundation and the Obama administration, along with the DOD, created the coil systems for the appliances. So why the DOD wouldn't be involved with appliances and your stovetops is because they developed the coil systems for them to be placed into all the equipment. So depending on the year, make, and model of that refrigerator, the coil systems are adaptive and part of the targeting program, and they coincide with the electricity running through the house and the smart grid through the access through the cities.
Wow. Okay, another thing I notice when I'm being hit bad is that my toilet stops flushing right, and my water pressure goes down.
Yeah, I'm not a plumber. I do not know any.
Yeah, I didn't know if that had anything to do with it, but I do notice that happens.
Pressure. That means it would have to be, if anything, I would suggest it would be city-wise, then smart grid systems in city, because depending, are you on a well or are you city?
I'm city.
Okay, so if you were on a well, you wouldn't probably have that water issue, but the city actually could control the pressure and the releases within the homes and stuff like that too. They have the capabilities of turning on and off people's water. So they have other capabilities like that too. So I would suggest that's probably city then. For a direct connection with the toilet, I can't tell you. I've never come across that issue.
Okay.
There might be a clog, something that's connecting from the drain pipes in your shower to the toilet to outside to the sink, because all of those are connected within your bathroom. Usually the washer and dryer machine, depending if you have one in your apartment or home, connect directly to the bathroom. So it uses the same drainage systems and the same piping on there. So, but there's different roof access too. The apartment complexes are a little bit more tricky, but they're universal. So even an apartment complex, they're going to mirror each other, right? So all the piping is going to be in the same area. So that could be through a different apartment building or not. So you would have to check with your landlord on that.
Yeah, it's not a complex. It's basically on a city street, and there's like 8 buildings right in a row. And they're privately owned. It's not a complex. So some individuals own 2 or 3 of them, but this is the only one that my landlord owns. And he did make a mention that one of the people that owns most of them has been really wanting him to sell this one. But anyway, but I was just wondering about the refrigerator, because it was unmistakable. I unplugged, I turned it off, it stopped immediately.
Right.
But they were still hitting me when my refrigerator was off, my air conditioner was off. I was still just getting pummeled. And I don't understand. I guess they're very close, I guess.
And that would have to be probably a neighbor or a drone, I would say. In order for them to be the smart grid and you have all those appliances turned off, there's no way they could use that energy to affect you. So it has to be coming from an outside. It has to be coming nearby.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Thank you so much. That affirmation is just huge. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have Albert. Go right ahead. You're unmuted.
Hi, this is Gina again on Albert's phone. I was listening to Amy talk about the capturing videos of implants. Amy, could you explain that to me, please?
Well, when they're connecting to the devices, sometimes there's compilations or problems that may occur and arise within their systems. Like, for instance, today I did this analysis. I was hoping to find more hacking information because she was talking about the mouse. But what we found is that she was also being attacked with weapon systems at that time. So the perpetrators actually linked the connection wrong, and it was actually killing her. So they were trying to stop the connection and disconnect the one person, but she was not letting go of that link. She was demanding it. I'm not letting go. They're like, disconnect, you're killing her. Disconnect, you're killing her. She's like, no, I'm not letting go. So obviously then they had those issues, but then they got on the phone call with their 611 center, and they're like, cut the link. And they're like, we can't, because it's connected to the coccular. And they're like, where's the, or they said it's connected through the implant. So they stated the word implant, and then they stated the microchips and biosensors in there. So when we're listening to their telecommunications, it's not just the V2K. The V2K is going to tell you the manipulative things. Oh, you're fat, you're ugly, we hate you, you're such a racist, you're a pothead, oh, she does drugs. So they're going to be more to keep you into that intellectual loop. But really, there's communications under there that are trapped behind there that you don't even realize going on. They're giving longitude, latitude positions. They're telling them to move their flaps up and down, whether it's a drone. They're saying that they need to put on stand hold. Are they playing a game with their system? I find gamers coming in and coming into the rooms all the time. And different types of people, different types of effects. So when I capture the implant information, it is a rarity, but it just depends on what is occurring at that time, what is happening when you're recording your audio and video. Because if you're shopping, I'm going to capture more of the information on a stalker. I'm not going to find them on their weapon systems unless they're attacking you with a weapon system at that time. So if they're studying you when you're sleeping, I'm going to find more of the human experimentation side on that, dealing with the software, the equipment, the upload, the monitoring of the heart. I'm going to be able to tell that they're data mining you. So every time that you're making a video, it depends on what is occurring at that time. What exactly are you doing? Are you at a birthday party? Is it a video of a blade of grass growing? Is it, yeah, that was fun. Are you at your parents' funeral? You know, things like that, you're going to find different information. So It all depends on what you're doing at that time. So I've caught, honestly, with implants, I could connect it more to the BCI and the technology and the software side than I have evidence of plants, microchips, and sensors. So far, out of the 300, I only have found probably a total of 5 people with the implant.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It doesn't mean that more people aren't implanting. It's just that, okay, well, you only paid for 2 hours worth of work, so I only did 2 hours worth of analysis. So there's more in a 2-hour video or audio. Does that make sense? Doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means that I didn't have time to go through it all.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your response.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, next we have another anonymous.
Hey, honey bunny. This is a good, she was on last night.
Okay, go ahead, anonymous. You're unmuted.
Thank you, Frank and Amy, for being there again for us tonight. This is Jacqueline calling.
Hi.
I don't know Amy. Hello. I don't know, Amy, if you ever spoken or aware of Melinda Kidder. She's a private investigator out of Missouri, and she does the body scanning. And I don't know the exact name of the test and what it all entails of her doing, but I would like to know if you are familiar with her services. Because I'm thinking about going to her in Missouri for the body scan, and again, that's not the correct term of the test that she does. But if you're aware of her services and what she does, would that help you as well?
Absolutely.
To determine where the signals are coming from?
That is actually very, very helpful. I've done that with one client so far. Actually, three clients. The same body parts they found and the same signals that they were on, I actually found in the report before they went to her. So she kind of verified and pinpointed the specific areas within the report. So if they're attacking your lip, they get points. They play games, right? So they're saying, oh, I hit her lip. Oh, and then they'll verify it. Hit lip. No, miss target, right? So they're playing a game and hitting specific areas of your body with you. So, I hit the back of her head. Oh, it was a kill shot. I aimed at her foot, her heart. So they will name the body parts and the positions of where they're actually aiming their weapon systems and targeting practice. Because why? They're playing it as a game. And they're practicing their precision with the weapon systems and the drones, unfortunately. But that is great comparison evidence to get from Melinda Kidder. So I have worked with her on some of the clients, sending information back and forth. So she is aware about what I do. Have we worked together physically? No. That offer hasn't been there on the table yet. But we both respect each other's work. So we communicate and help the victims through that whole entire process, storing evidence, collecting evidence, and stuff like that, going back and forth to them too.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here again tonight. And I will be in touch. Thank you, Frank, as well.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Okay, next we have Anthony. Anthony, you are now unmuted. Go right ahead.
Hi, Frank.
Hi
there, Frank. I was wondering, I got on the call late, but I was just wondering, you said that you needed video recording, but I'm getting a lot of remote neural monitoring and the voice to skull. How am I supposed to record that?
Same way. It's their telecommunications back and forth. It's no matter what remote neural monitoring, that's through the neural in the brain. So
okay,
same aspect
but
because they're directing.
How do I record it though? How do I get the recording? Do I use my iPhone voice recorder and just have it on, and then give you the information, and then give you the recording?
Yeah, you could use any type of recording device. Actually, one of the best ones that I captured for R&M was actually her holding up the recorder to her ear.
Oh, okay. I have some of those.
Okay.
In fact, I slept with the phone on my ear one night, and they were doing voice to skull all night. And I slept with the phone to my ear on the voice recorder on my iPhone. So I'll have that recording that I could send you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. R&M, AI systems, V2K, they all have the same neural link connection or BCI technology, which means they have to be connected. There has to be a transceiver or receiver, some format, whether it's an audio tracker, whether it's a beam, frequency beam, whether it's a tone generator towards the implants and the sensors in your body. The remote neural monitoring, there has to be something physically connected to your brain area, which is usually through the medial cortex, through the brain stem. Or the cochlea.
Oh, they get my complete everything from my vision cortex, from my occipital, from my vision. They can see everything I see.
And that would definitely be the neural link?
They have for years. And they have for years.
Okay. That would definitely be the Neuralink technology, because what they're doing is optical imaging. They're working on motion-to-motion capture and chirography. So they're able to install pictures and images into people's heads going through the optical nervous system.
They're not doing that yet to me, but they're picking up on everything that I see. they're not putting anything in my optical vision. I'm getting older, so my eyes are getting worse, and I read a lot. So that my eyes are just getting worse that way. But they haven't sent any like holograms or anything like that yet.
Okay.
So is that something I should probably expect, or what?
It's possibility is especially with the remote neural monitoring. It's tissue damage, nerve system damage. I mean, that's happening to all of us, and that's why a lot of people grow old and get Alzheimer's or start to stuttering with their speech. It's because of the facial manipulations within their body. It's because of the throat closing. They're able, because they map that part of your body out to a T to where they can control it functionally. So, and each person has a different body type, a different body structure, although like the nervous system is the same, but each different type of company and corporation is doing their own sort of research on that. So we would have to try to figure out who is behind it in order to make a direct connection. But we could do something like that if you already got the recordings. The ear is actually the best spot to get it because that's where they're directly connecting it to your brain.
And I do it, and I did it in my left ear where I hear it clearly the most. And I feel like I'm getting attacked by two. I feel like I'm getting the like the mind hive or the hive mind. When I don't have, when I put the plugs in to go to sleep at night, I could hear the mind hive team. I could hear them talking. I could hear them talking. Today I tried to go take a nap, and I heard them. I got really pissed off because the mind hive team said they're going to jack him up. So I woke up and I started screaming my head off at him. But say, for example, if I have those earplugs in, I hear the mind hive team clearly. But I also have it sounds like it comes from, when I don't have the earplugs in, it sounds like it's coming from my bookcase in my bedroom. But and then when I have the earplugs in, I don't hear those people from the bookcase. It blocks them out. It blocks the fan out. It blocks that noise out. All I hear is the mind hive team. Does that make sense to you?
No, it does. It does.
Because I think I have two teams that are attacking me.
And
I think I have one team, and I think I have one team that I think they put something near my bookshelf in my bedroom. And then then I have the mind hive team that are doing it. So when I go to sleep, I put the earplugs in, and I only hear the mind hive team. I don't hear the team, the women that mostly it's women. It sounds like it's women that are coming from my bookshelf. So I don't know. To me, it just seems like I have two teams attacking me.
I have caught mind hives in three different military human experimentations. I've actually caught 9 different types of military experimentations too. The Imminent Fury program, Project Reborn. I have caught MK Ultra in it. So I've caught supercomputers like an Enoch computer system. I have caught the mind hive three times out of the 300 victims. They do it in groups. It's not just one. When you feel like you're being attacked by multiple spots in different areas, it's a group. So you have different weapon systems on you at all. Remember I was talking about the gaming that they play. They play games.
Yes.
They have a starting time and they have a finish time. Whoever could hit the most accurate spots in the most locations wins. They get money because these people pay $2,000 just to enter in and play games. So they get the money back if their team wins.
I think they also get off on who could be the cruelest. I think they can also get off on who could be the most sadistic. I think they get points for that.
But they do. And they actually get more points, bonus points for a direct kill shot, like aiming at your head, your heart. And they have actually it mapped out in different areas. So they have a gray area, which is outside of the I picture it like darts. It's playing darts. They have it set up like a dartboard, and each area they get a specific point for, and then if they miss, they don't get any points for it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate all your help, and I'm gonna I have all your information. I'll send you some recordings. I'd like to email you so we can keep in touch.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anytime.
I'm Anthony. I'm Anthony, and I'm from Chandler, Arizona.
Okay, nice to meet you, Anthony.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have Deborah. You're unmuted, Deb.
Hi. You were mentioning about gaming. Oh my goodness. I was just thinking about this the other day. I feel like I've been handed off to different people. And at times I felt like two different factions. You know, I was like being attacked from two different directions or two different groups. And another, kind of affirmation is that we understand at some level what's happening. But you just kind of affirmed what I was suspecting, like I was sensing that it's coming from two different people or places, or that's what my awareness was telling me, because you get so attuned to your body and how they're affecting it, your environment, when they invade it. And I just wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
My goodness.
Everybody that tells their story is actually telling the truth of what they are experiencing it. It's just how other people are perceiving it that is wrong. Knowing the technology and actually is what is causing it helps people understand it a lot more. And that's what I do, is find that evidence and provide it for you guys. But nobody in the TI community is wrong. All their ideas are right. The LRAD system, ray guns, lasers, cell towers, radio towers, EMF, ELF, Bluetooth, it's all the same. It's just connecting together and tracking and tracing down their network, so we could get into their systems and start shutting it down on that end.
Well, this kind of connects dots in my story, because my whole life I was told I didn't think right. My family, teachers. I was in college being tutored by a math professor because I went to the math department and said, I want to graduate. And I tried 8 times. And what was happening, I was transposing the symbols. I was getting the answer right, even though I would transpose the symbols, which made the problem not what the original problem started out being. But he said, boy, you really do think differently. I was told my whole life, your perception is wrong. And it makes sense that they would target people who have a history like mine. Where, you were going to say something.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something. But, who have maybe trauma in their background, childhood trauma, because we grow up without a whole lot of self-confidence, right? So it's easy to convince us our perception is wrong. What they didn't count on is people like you.
Well, they do target a lot of people with disabilities. And why? Because, one, they don't know about people with disabilities. So they attack those people to gain more information and understanding about it. Abuse is easily manipulated. They could get the person to become depressant, commit suicide that way. If somebody was physically abused, emotionally abused, calling you ugly, that's why they put so many things. That's why I say that you have to change your perspective from a pessimistic side to an optimistic side, because that chemicals in a negative aspect actually release neural connectivity to other areas that they can't connect to. So if you're optimistic and you're changing that view, your chemical balance completely changes, and it's harder for them to even attack you.
So you said you were a woman of faith, and so I think what happened to me is I learned about God, I learned about Christ, and I saw myself as He says I am. And thank goodness for people who have faith in God and in Christ, because His perspective, He sees us as beautiful.
Right.
We are a crown in His hand.
We were created in His image.
That's right. We are image bearers. Exactly right. And how dare they? How dare they do this? And, people go, oh, yeah, well, God's not doing anything. Oh, He is never, ever not doing anything. He never sleeps, and He watches over us. Mm-hmm. I swear there have been times, Amy, that I have gone, God, what do I do? And I'll have a thought like, put your shielding there, or go in that room and stand over there. And I'm telling you, I think it's the Holy Spirit guiding me into safety because I'm trusting them. And that's positive. So for any TI, listening, please trust in God, trust in Christ, and ask Him to come into your heart, because He will direct you, and He'll be with you through this whole time. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'd like to end the Q&A, and before I do, Amy, if there's anything you'd like to say, feel free.
Yeah. Anybody feel free to contact me anytime. I wanted to make a note on that God aspect. I do a call on Monday nights with Awakening Prayer. It's where a bunch of us do come together. So if you are a person of faith and want to join us on Monday nights, email me and I'll give you out the contact number or the contact. Can I say that right now, Frank?
Yes, you can, and I'd like to join you.
Sure, absolutely. The phone number for that is 605-562-0400, and the access code is 7660364. Now it's more of like we listen to songs. I talk about technology sometimes, not all the time. We do read the scriptures and the Bibles.
Go ahead, Amy. Go ahead. I'll think that was temporary. Okay, Amy, go ahead. Amy? Amy, did we lose you? Did you lose me? Hello, I need a sound check here. *6 will unmute you.
Hello.
Hi. Let me see.
Hi, I can hear you. I think we lost Amy.
Yeah, we did. She just...
Yeah, well, I'm here. No. Is it here? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay. Wait, hold up. Let Amy talk.
Okay. So, I don't know. I'll repeat the number and the access number and the time again. It's 605-562-0400. And the access code is 7660364, and it's at 8 o'clock p.m. on Monday nights. And I talk a little bit about technology, but we mainly pray in unity. It doesn't matter your faith or religion. If you want to pray, we read pastors or scriptures. We talk about world events, things like that. So come on down, and we'll be happy to take you. And feel free to reach out to me, call me, text me, message me at any given time, and I would be more than happy to respond back to you and talk to you guys, even on a one-on-one. So that's it.
8 p.m. Pacific time?
Specific time, I'm usually available. Do not call. I usually don't take phone calls past midnight unless I know you personally and it's an emergency.
I think you said Pacific time.
Oh, Eastern. All right, thought you. So.
Hey, it is just about midnight, and I just wanted to say thank you very much, Amy. And you have definitely brought forward a new area for us to look at. And thank you very much, and I'm going to direct as many people to you as I can.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Frank. It was a pleasure being here and talking with everybody.
I think we will work together in the future, and
okay.
I think that's definite.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, bye, everyone. God bless.
God bless, Amy. Okay.
God bless.
God bless.
Hello?
Tamisha.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah, Frank. All this information on Amy, will this be on your website?
All of this information, contact information? Yes, it will.
Yes, the contact information for Amy?
Yes, it will be.
It will be on your website, and your website is what?
targetedmassachusetts.org.
Okay, Targeted Massachusetts. Well, once again, Frank, everything was great. It was great listening and stuff like that. I didn't get a chance to speak to Amy and stuff like that. I know the session's over, but once again, it was great having her there. It's great listening to you, and I'm looking forward to speaking to her. And once again, I know the session's over, but I'll just get all the information from your website. And you'll have all the links for her information and stuff like that, as far as her personal phone number in her.
We'll have all the information that she wants you to have.
All right, then.
I'm going to devote one. I'm going to devote one page to Amy.
Okay, then, because I know she was giving out her personal phone number, and it should be. You can't call her past 3. Is she Eastern time?
Yeah, it's Eastern. It's Eastern time, but that may not have been her personal phone number. That may have been her business number. I don't know.
Because if it's a business number, all that information should be on your website, though, correct?
Yeah, I'll put it up there tomorrow. I'm not staying up probably past 1 or so tonight. This call is going to continue right now.
All right, then, Frank. Well, much appreciated, then.
Yes, sir. Okay, no one said anything about HARP. Now, this is what I'll tell you. Any one of these weapon systems can emit a mind control frequency. That's what everyone is missing. The idea is to find out which system they're using. And Amy can do that. So that's fantastic. This is a new avenue, and I definitely am going to support her. The Allen Institute is going to support her. And together, we are going to do some damage to these perps. And that's all I care about. If there's a lawsuit, you can have my share. How's that? Just give me expenses. Oh, God. But anyway, we're going to be here. We're going to be running until at least 1 o'clock. And so we need some speakers up here.
Frank, this is Deb.
Hi, Deb.
Could you please tell me a little bit about the Allen Institute? I don't know very much about that.
It's the Allen Institute for Human Rights. And I originally set it up to deal just with the United Nations and the TIs. And so far, that's what I'm doing. It's to take a human rights 501c3 is very different than a regular 501c3. It's very closely looked at by the federal government. And it has a lot of different powers that regular 501c3s do not have. And it's twice as hard or 3 times as hard to get.
And so if you needed volunteers, what would they be doing?
Emailing. I can give you a list. I mean, I am beat right now. It's a little after midnight here in Massachusetts. But if you call me tomorrow, I'll give you a list.
Oh, hang on. Okay, all I have at this time is my phone.
Okay, that's great.
I don't have a computer, so you'll have to. You've got my number there. You can see it, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I can call you. Also,
please call me tomorrow. Would you?
Could you please tell me your number again?
Sure. 508-857-8334.
Okay. All right. And I will call you tomorrow.
Okay, and
Thank
we are also looking for a new grant writer. If you know anybody that does that, and it has to be somebody outside the community.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who does that. I'm trying to think because I know a lot of people, but I'll think about that. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody, but I was in school, and I know there were 3 or 4 that were grant writers in school.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. If you think of their names, go ahead and forward them on to me, and we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks.
Just for your information, Deborah, we've intervened in quite a few TI situations, and we're intervening in one now with ICE, and that's going to start Monday, and that's when we start working on that. So, We're using the badge for TIs, and we're coming out on top. We've had air conditioners turned on. We've had small things. I'm telling you, small things. And we've had a few big ones, too. And we've kept people in their apartments. We've done a lot of different things. But if you say you remember, just call me up real quick so I can clarify it if you get in trouble. So I'm going to mute myself, get a fresh pot of coffee going, and you guys can talk. Chat away. Chat room's open. Everything is open. I'll be right back. Deb, did you want to say something?
No, I accidentally unmuted myself, but I did. I muted my microphone on my phone.
Okay,
Sorry.
Fine. That's fine. And I'll be back in like 3 minutes. I just got to set some coffee brewing. I'll be right back.
Hello, everyone.
Does anybody ever have the... I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just really pumped up. I think that Amy has so much great information. I mean, she doesn't sound like somebody that's just about to graduate and needs experience in the craft. It sounds like she already has a plan. She's already put it in motion. She can record V2K. I thought that was impossible after this evening, personally.
She's put a lot together in a short time. I'll give her that.
Does anybody know how her technology works to decipher what she finds out?
No, but I know it's possible. There's a prominent TI, or well, he's fairly well known within the community. His name's Look Out for Charlie. And I've watched videos of him breaking down the signals, analyzing the voices that are in there. He's like a radio engineer or something like that, technician. So he has a lot of experience with electronics. You know, it's like he can capture the voices so you can hear what they're saying. And I think he's traced some back to people.
I don't know how that all works, how he does it or how she does it, but it really does make me hopeful.
Yeah, as I said, his name's Look Out for Charlie. He's got videos posted. He has a YouTube channel. And it's really creepy. You listen to him, and he's like, listen, and he clarifies. Somehow he brings it in. He gets the rest of it. He kind of like takes the rest of the sounds out there and clarifies the voice. And it's like
I know
it comes in. Yeah, and
I've heard him.
It gets really creepy. Yeah.
Well, I've heard him, and I could, and he would have much more credibility if he'd clean up his language.
Yeah, I know nothing about that. Yeah. I mean, part of the problem is I get hit so hard. I mean, I'm not bragging. It's like I was never good in math, but pretty good in everything else. And I remember breaking down complex subjects and explaining to people because, people you thought would understand, they didn't know what you're talking about. When my friends asked me, you still remember that? Do you still belong to that club with really high people with really high IQs? And she's got college behind her. But I'm saying I can't focus. I can't concentrate. And this is probably a lot of the problems. They have a constant loop in my mind. But I mean, and you go through and you read and you try to figure out what the hell's going on. And Charlie says this works, and it sounds reasonable until you read somebody, don't do what Charlie said, this is insane, And then when they point that out, I'm like, yeah, they got a point. Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the foul language. I mean, really clean it up, and you will have more credibility.
You got a problem. I don't think Charlie cares. I mean, I'm just saying it's how some people are. I know what you're saying. I know. I mean,
well, I think he's extremely intelligent,
yeah.
but I just can't listen to that. I mean, I just don't want to listen to that.
You know,
there's no need for it.
I'm with you. I didn't even use profanity. This thing had me swearing like a trooper. I don't like listening to it, but I had to accept. A lot of people just don't give a crap how I feel about things. I know what you're saying. They just don't care. They're not of the same mindset we are.
Yeah.
But does anybody else ever wonder if they're in people around you's minds? I mean, my situation is getting surrealistic. It's getting really weird. I'm wondering if it's just technology or it's just life.
I take care of an elderly woman who has hearing aids. And I broke out the manual for those hearing aids, and I discovered that those hearing aids are like, you can use Bluetooth. You can connect them to your phone. You can connect them to your television. And I thought, ooh, that's creepy. So what if those people with hearing disability are using Bluetooth earphones and they're being mind controlled? And if that can happen, so why couldn't they mind control someone sitting there in front of their boob tube all day?
Well, they don't need to have you hooked up to anything. They got me totally hammered. I can go out in the woods. It doesn't make a damn bit of difference. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I told them I even fled to the Amish, several states over. In the next state, about 3 hours from my house. They don't have electricity. Hoping that would help. It didn't change a thing. Nothing.
Wow.
It's irrelevant where I'm at.
They're on my phone right now. I've got an echo.
Yeah, because I have one friend. And she gets a little excited, gets a little paranoid, but she keeps complaining about tendinitis. She's now got a pain in her private areas. And she fell off a balcony some years ago, and she's now paraplegic. And she was saying it felt like they pushed her off her wheelchair. She fell. Yeah.
Wow.
But I thought about signing up for the lawsuit with Targeted Justice, and I was filling out the questionnaire. And they asked on there, have you had inexplicable problems with family members? And the answer is yeah. I don't have. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, I have a headset. That was weird. I'm on a headset. I don't have a mic. I have it plugged into my computer. All of a sudden it did that, and you said your mic is on. I muted it, and it stopped. No, I'm saying it's been going on with my family for some time. And it did start with my sister. All of a sudden she hated me for nothing, probably about a year after I think this started. I'm just wondering if they're in their minds, if they're doing it, or everybody's just crazy as hell.
I think people turn against us because they're afraid they're going to become a TI sometimes.
I never told her I was a TI. I've never mentioned a word about it to them.
Well,
my other sister just decided she hated me. It was weird. And we were close. I mean, that's the weird part.
I think they get to everybody, you know. They find everybody, you know, via Facebook or just, you know, they know everything about us, you know, and they find everybody's phone numbers and addresses and emails, and they just somehow, one way or the other, communicate with these people. You know, I went through it too. Nobody likes me anymore. And I'm all isolated and whatever.
Yeah, no, I hadn't told anybody for years and years. And about 3 years ago, I wanted to look for shielding. And for that, I knew I was going to need help because I can't focus and concentrate well enough to do it. When this first started with me, there was not nearly the information out there to prove it's happening there is now. So I decided to take a chance. I got a bunch of literature together and tried to approach my family. They had me committed.
Yeah, my mother doesn't believe me. I told her, and she just thinks the divorce, I didn't legally get divorced, but separated from my ex after 12 years. She just thinks that put me through a lot, which it did. But
no, and I was desperate for help, and I was begging people to look at it, and they, you know, it's weird because after a while, after I got them to calm down and look at it, well, part of the big problem was my dad's ex-military. And he's old and he has dementia. It's not bad, but it's there. And heart problems. And the minute I said it was probably the military or the government, he started flipping. It was bizarre. My dad is a good man. He really does love me. No, my dad is like the real effing Rambo. You should hear some of the crap he's done in real life. He is the real Rambo. He was CID Black Ops hardcore undercover. And he's got dementia now. And I just hit a nerve. I think I may have even triggered flashbacks. He just started flipping out and screaming at me and told me I was not going to betray my country, my government. And he wasn't even making sense. He just went off. It was bizarre. I couldn't believe what was happening. And then after a while, he calmed down, and he kept saying something about his heart. He was about 82 at the time, maybe 81. And I didn't understand what he was saying. I finally got him to watch some of the tapes. I said, Dad, did it ever occur to you that little box in the room lies to you all day, every day to cover up for the crimes of the rich and powerful government? He said, of course. They've been doing it since Caesar's time. And I had some tapes. And he watched about 4 hours, and he said, I can't watch anymore. I'm going to have a heart attack. It's going to kill me. But you had to know my dad. I mean, my dad is a good man. He was a good father. That man loves me. You did not screw with me. Because he really had the conviction and training to back that crap up. He really would kill you. I never worried about it. That man loves me. He'd kill you. He would slaughter you like a stuffed pig you screwed with me. He just can't take it. I mean, he had the guts to tell the government no. He told me once I could never bring myself to kill an innocent person who done nothing wrong, put a gun against their head, pull a bullet, put it back in my holster and sleep at night just because the government told me to. So that man has a conviction to tell him no. But he started telling me he started having flashbacks a couple of years ago. I'm wondering if I triggered it with all that. Yeah, I mean, he just started flipping out. It got crazy. And he never does that. I mean, it was weird. I hit a nerve.
You didn't know, though.
Well, no, I went into shock. I couldn't believe he was reacting like that. I was like, Jesus, Pete's dad, it's some tapes. And then, but you know, he consciously knows the government does this shit. I mean, he doesn't realize how bad it is, but he doesn't believe they're saints.
Right.
Because he flat out told me I didn't realize what I was listening to when I was younger. He had told me that. He could never kill innocent people just because the government told him to. He refused. And he knows about these electronic weapons. I mean, he's 84 now, but he knew they existed. I mean, it just got really bizarre. It created a really bad situation. I wish I had never started it. But what happened was during that period of time, I thought it was possibly coming out of these Wi-Fi's and these signals, so I wouldn't go to anybody's houses. And I was out in the backyard, and I passed out. Mm-hmm. So they told the ambulance driver I was suicidal. They had me locked up. Oh. They were being mean. I really thought I'd lost it.
Right.
And they had me in the hospital overnight and said, no, you're fine. You can go home. They liked their teeth. I wasn't suicidal. But they had apparently had gotten a dose of the law. They have to be a threat or a threat to themselves to get them locked up. So they took the opportunity while I passed out in the backyard. The opportunity while I was being picked up by the ambulance driver to have me committed.
Hi, Soa.
Hi, Frank. How are you?
Lena. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Frank. Yeah, and then I got on the call and they said, "Don't tell people." A little late.
Yeah.
The damage was done. Well, no, actually, my mom got to believe me. She actually called my nephew and asked if he'd help me. He's an electrician, and he had said yes, he'd do it. But unfortunately, my nephew has a little drinking problem.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think it was at the bars. No, I could not believe my dad reacted that way. I had a nerve. Because he started telling me a few months ago he started having flashbacks a while back. He said all those years. And he was telling me about, he said all he ever smelled was, I guess there's some river in Vietnam that really stinks. He said I still smell it every night when I go to bed, but he didn't have flashbacks.
Oh, dear.
He was doing some kind of reconnaissance work or something in Nam before it was Nam, before it was a war. I'm not sure what the hell he was doing there. But he got captured. I didn't know this. He got tortured for 49 days before they broke him out.
Oh, my God.
That's why he's having flashbacks about that torture, I guess. And he said, I got an hour at that SOB. He goes, I cut off his ears, I brought him home. He goes, I buried him in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's some pretty nasty stuff. My dad's a good man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying I just went in shock because, you didn't screw with me. I couldn't believe you reacted like that because my parents were very protective. You didn't screw with me. That man would kill for me. He'd die for me. He really does love me.
Okay.
And he really meant it. He has a training. He would put a bullet in your brain if it came to it. That's why I was so shocked he reacted like that. But he's old and, he's senile. And, he's not senile, but he's got a little dementia. There's some irrational bursts of anger. But it was just bizarre. I've never seen him do that before. The whole family flipped out. My sister was pissed at me.
Why?
I approached my family with this. My dad is ex-military. And he was CID, Black Ops, undercover hardcore, a lot of anti-drug missions, I know that. He's kind of like the real Rambo. My dad was literally Rambo. You'd never know it, but he's a nice guy, but that's what he did in the military. The minute he said, who do you think's doing this, Chair? I mentioned the government, the military, bam, he just lost it. He's old and got some dementia now. And he started complaining about his heart and everything. I didn't understand what he was saying. He thought he was going to have a heart attack. He just can't deal with it, Frank. It was bizarre. I just could not believe he was reacting that way. I was devastated. I will not let you betray my government. You're not going to be the downfall of the government. I'm like, Dad, you're not even making sense. My dad has a college degree. It was just irrational. Not that it mattered. It was just bizarre. I couldn't believe it was happening. And he told me some months ago he started having flashbacks probably around that time. I think I hit a nerve. I just couldn't believe he was doing it. He started screaming. The minute he heard the government may be involved, he started screaming and yelling at me, telling me to get out of the house, and I'm not going to betray my country, and talking about his heart. It was nuts. I couldn't believe it was happening. It didn't go well. In the end, I was during the period where I was trying to stay away from the signals, hoping it would calm things down. So I wouldn't go in their house. They got a large yard. I was out in the backyard, and I passed out. So they called the ambulance. Of course, I'm passed out with going into seizures of blood coming out of my mouth. So they took the opportunity to tell the ambulance driver and the police I was suicidal. They had me locked up. They thought, They held me a day, said, you're not crazy. You're not a danger to yourself. You can let yourself go. But see, I had never told them anything all those years. Because, who's going to believe you? You don't have a shred of proof. You look like you're a damn nutcase. But I had been reading about shielding. And I have a sister who's pretty tech-savvy, and she's very bright, very intelligent. And I have a nephew who's an electrician. And I can't focus and concentrate well enough to do the research. And I was desperate. And I finally, years ago when this first started, I wrote Nick Breggett, Angels Don't Play With His Heart. But he personally answered me back. I said, do you know any way to protect yourself from this? He said, no, unfortunately, I don't. So I kind of gave up on shielding. If he doesn't know, there probably isn't any. Then I started doing some research later. I kept running across, people saying they were finding shielding that worked. So I took a chance. Now there's a lot more on the net to prove it than there was years ago. So I got a bunch of literature together and took it to my family, hoping to convince them to help me. That's how it turned out in the end. It didn't go well. Because I knew I couldn't do the research myself. And you know what the weird thing is? A couple people did agree to help me, but then they backed out for whatever reasons they had. You know, friends. Yeah. But that's when I started calling the groups. I was desperate. It was getting bad again. And it took a while that, you know, I'm not sure if shielding works on anybody. Some people do say some people don't. But I tried a bunch of stuff, and it just didn't work for me.
Well, I haven't found any shielding that works either.
That's what I mean. That's what I was trying to tell Amy. You just get tired of wasting money. I was going to document all the stuff. I bought an iPad. I bought...
Did you listen to what she said?
That's why I asked her. That's why I asked.
She said it's all associated with your head, your vagus nerve, your sciatic nerves.
I mean, yeah.
It's all about the nervous system. It isn't about the area.
I know. And, well, I bought RF meters, hoping to, you know, targeted it just or whatever. Maybe present that in court, and you know, well, I got sent admissible. And as I said, I get threatened. That's the biggest problem with me. And you know, I have some money, and it sounds kind of sick, but my father's knocking on death's door.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just be honest. That's gonna free up a few bucks for me.
That's why I want you to call me tomorrow.
You know, I'd like to even do it out of personal information because she's...
I don't want you to do about anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because they got a constant loop running in my mind. I mean, they really have that much control over me. That's why I was shocked on the calls, because I know the targeting isn't uniform. I figured that much out just listening and reading other people's stuff. But I expected to find more people with a degree of, I like the pounding and the control of the physiology of mind that I have. And I'm not sure I'm looking at it because it's that bad with me. If they want me to think something, I try to do something. They take my thoughts. They put it all over the place. I can't focus. I can't concentrate. They could totally block me off my own thought process. I'm trying to concentrate on something, like a video or something. They could totally cut me off and get me wrapped up in something else. It's like blocking thoughts. I know people complain about it. They just block it out. Yeah. It's that bad.
Frank?
Yes.
Could you... I didn't hear Amy talking about the sciatic nerve.
Okay, well, that's a nerve bundle that is very accessible. There are a lot.
I know it well.
Yeah, okay. All right.
What did she say about them targeting it? Because that happened a lot when I was in seminary. I mean, I was flat on my back.
Yeah.
Like 3 times. Out of nowhere. It would just, I'd be like in so much pain. And I would do these exercises, and it didn't seem to help.
Okay, what she said, I can't actually come up with. But other than the fact that she said it was, you know, a nerve group. I think she put it along with the brain stem and the vagus nerve and other nerves that we have all talked about in the past. But everybody says, oh, put this over the area. No, put it over your head. That's a good place to start. If you don't have an idea which nerve bundle it is, cover your head. I've said this for so many years, and people get on this conference call and they say, all right, well, put this cookie sheet over your butt. You know, and I just lose interest very quickly.
What do you cover your head with?
I have tried everything, but what I would try is Linkstat. I think she recommended that. Neil sells it. Give it a try.
Okay.
It's not that expensive. But cover your eyes, cover your face, and find a way to breathe, okay? Because you'll get in through your eyes, you'll get in through your nose. If you talk, that's the best way they have to get at you, because your brain's right there.
Mhm.
So, you got to use your head and just think logically and say, well, what's the easiest way to my brain? You've got 2 holes in the side of your head, your ears, and that seems to be the one
Yeah,
that...
I've been doing that for a while, is blocking my ears. I've covered I made a tinfoil hat, and I used my bicycle helmet as a mold. But it's not just...
That's a good idea.
It's not just aluminum foil. It's other components with it that I created it with.
You should try, just for the heck of it, the material they make windshield covers out of, to protect the upholstery from the sun. There's like a layer of mylar, and there's a layer of foam, then there's another layer of mylar. So a lot of people have said that mylar is good. And it is an electorate. You can look up electorate if you want. It's something that you should ground, because it does pick up a current.
So I was staying with a friend from I don't know. I left there at the end of February, and he had made this, because he's a survivalist, he likes to go and camp and stuff. But he made this tent out of mylar. And I was sharing a little bit. He was finding it hard to believe, but he came up from the basement one day, and he flips this bag open, and this bundle of mylar falls out. And he unfolds it, and it's a tent. He made a tent out of several sheets of mylar. And he goes, I don't know if this will help, but, And so I pulled it out of the closet the other night, and I covered with it last night.
You have to cover... You have to put the shiny side out, or else you will roast. I mean roast.
Yeah, I was...
You can also use one of those mylar emergency sleeping bags that they have.
Yeah.
Turn it inside out so that it's reflective.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like $5, $5.99.
Very good. Okay.
But as far as seeing something that actually worked, I haven't heard about it yet.
Okay.
But I'll tell you one thing, Amy is really great tonight. She's going to be a big help in the future.
I am flabbergasted and more hopeful than I've ever been.
Yeah, she's going to, I'm going to work with her. She doesn't know it yet. And we're going to get some action, my feeling. Trying to get rid of somebody's bounced email. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're down to like 30 people on a Saturday night. That's unusual. Well, we're going to end it. In view of that fact that we're at 30, we'll end at 1 a.m., I guess. I'm going to mute, let you guys talk.
Hello, is anyone there? Hello? Hello?
Hello, Nona. Hello, Nona. Seatbelt, fix that mic. It's been years. Well, it doesn't appear that anyone would like to speak, so I am going to end the meeting now, unfortunately. But I am wicked tired anyway. So good night all. God bless, and I will see you Wednesday evening.
Good night, Frank. It was a wonderful call.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it was a wonderful couple nights. This will be on YouTube as well. And if you want to see, without going to YouTube, you can go to Target of Massachusetts and actually pick up the call from last night. That's on YouTube, right on the front page.
Okay.
Thanks, Frank.
He's a really, really good person.
Thank you so much.